Hey boys, good evening. Vampire Elves pouring in. Today is gonna be the last day of Jibber Jabbers with this last look on the Mortal Empire's factions. I'm going through most of it, just makes me want to start a Warhammer 2 campaign because it's been so long. Once we're done with the Jibber Jabber, I'm gonna do the last achievement in Warhammer 2. It's just gonna be click, 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 and then I'm gonna start a new campaign. And most likely not gonna be Warhammer 2, but a Warhammer 3 campaign. We still have another 9 days until Immortal Empire's beta, so still a lot of time to kill. Last achievement I have to do, Eye of the Water, etc., and occupy Nehekara. I did the High Elf achievements last night, so one achievement is missing. One achievement. It went much faster than expected. So we talked about all these factions, and we ended with Bretonia yesterday. So today we're gonna be talking about the Wood Elves, the Beastmen, and the Warriors of Chaos. Regarding the Wood Elves, like I always say, I love archers, love elves. Dark Elves are my least favorite though. Wood Elves, I liked from the very first time they got introduced in Warhammer 1. This is was the most overpowered faction back in Warhammer 1. It was released towards the end, and weird balance, power creep, whatever you want to call it. In Warhammer 2, this faction has actually received, in my opinion, the best rework. The Beastmen got the most overpowered rework, but that's because, you know, I felt like they forgot to post-patch it, balance it. The CA is notorious for not taking any feedback, so people probably complain about it, how it progresses too fast, but they didn't care. So wondering if they're gonna be corrected. Beastmen are a lot of fun. I enjoy Beastmen because they play differently, but in Warhammer 2 the Beastmen are one of the most overpowered factions. It tends to be, you know, with these reworks, sometimes, you know, they just do a little bit too much. Anyways, the Wood Elves, in my opinion, got the best rework. It feels like a different campaign to play, and they even have good mechanics. Out of all the Wood Elves, Orion, well, let's talk about the Wood Elves first. So, race attribute says Forest Healing. Heal the world's forest in return for powerful faction-wide bonuses. World roots and deep roots. Wood Elves armies can use network of ancient tree roots and avoid impassable terrain and travel vast distances between forests. Missile-focused Elven unit roster with a variety of enchant arrows and fast-moving cavalry. Missile-focused. While yes, this is true, you know, the elves are missile focused, surprise, surprise, but I consider Wood Elves one of the stronger melee factions in the game, and if you never played any of the Wood Elf factions focused on melee, you missed out. One of the highest quality in the game, and access to some powerful magic to go with it. Personally, I loved Wood Elves. Almost could fit it in several factions that have 5th slot on my 5th favorite factions in the series. There's so many factions in these games, so it's hard to, you know, really pick up who's favorite. You know, like I said, for sure, Dwarves and Empires are my favorite, followed by the Vampire Counts, and after that, it's you know, it goes a little bit weird. Depends. But for some time, Wood Elves and Tomb Kings were there, and I just love how the Wood Elves play. Thank you, Rubio. And they're full of flavor. They feel different, and their rework is the best one. It's not insanely crazy. They actually got balanced. One would say the rework made them weaker, but those guys have no idea what they're talking about. So Wood Elves being reworked the way they did it, they did the right way. and they made them even more unique than they were before. So I'm having a lot of fun usually playing the Wood Elves. I always wanted to do one long campaign, but it felt like I don't know, like I was waiting for something and never really managed to do a long one. You know, there was a time of campaigns where I felt pressured to finish campaigns, either because, you know, people were getting impatient waiting for the next campaign. I was afraid campaign would get corrupted because of issues with the game. There was, in the middle of the Warhammer 2, a lot of issues with, say, corruption. Where we started even just declaring critical mass and not even finishing campaigns to victory screen. But most of the campaigns were finished with victory screen, and it felt like, you know, my desire to play longer campaigns has decreased because of a variety of reasons. And I don't like that. I don't like that. You know, I should care less about what people think. And if I want to play a longer campaign, I'll play a longer campaign, right? It was same. It went one with Warhammer 3. There were a couple of people that were not happy that I was doing my very second Warhammer 3 campaign, conquering the whole map with the Slanesh. And you know, this kind of makes me, I don't know, rethink my my choices and options on what to do. And guys, there's 69 Lords of Mortal Empires, and there will be close to 90 of them in Immortal Empires. And let's get something out of the way. Some of them we will not see for years, and just deal with it. If you don't like it, get a Man of the Month request and request the Lord, or watch another streamer who there's like 100 of them, most on YouTube. So some of the lords will not get their turn for years. For years. And if I feel like doing a long campaign, we'll be doing a long campaign, even if it takes a whole month. Okay, that out of the way. Let's talk about the Wood Elves here. Orion. Orion is a really cool lord. It's kind of like a hybrid. It's a little bit range, a little bit melee, obscene stats, and some abilities. Orion was very powerful in Warhammer 1, but as Warhammer 2 got released, even with the buffs, it felt like he fell behind. This guy is supposed to be God walking the earth, but you know, while it feels like, you know, he's geared, the power creep of Warhammer 2 has made Orion look worse. While Orion is still very strong, his faction feels off, and I will talk about it why. So Orion leads Talsin. Talsin starts in the bottom of the Ataloran, inside the Wood Elf forest, the big forest. Enables the unique Wild Hunt event, leadership +10 during forest battles, upkeep -20% for all cavalry units. So immediately boring faction effects, in my opinion. Lord effect, 8 charge bonus for Wild Riders and Great Stag Knights units, whatever. And 20% damage for Wild Riders and Great Stag Knights units. That's amazing. I don't know who decides to give 8 charge and then only 20%. If it was 20 charge, it cannot compare with 20% weapon strength. It was 20% charge, it would even be worse than 20% weapon strength. Charge numbers do not equal weapon strength numbers. One thing the devs can really, you know, comprehend. And I don't think they're ever gonna change, but what can you do? At least he gets a flood bonus, and it's really good for the Wild Riders. And pretty good for the Great Stag Knights. Well, 20% damage is huge. It's huge, especially for the Great Stag Knights. This is a really hard hitting unit. So he has a flavor with the cavalry and Wild Hunt, while it feels a little bit off. We'll talk more about his faction when we get in. Starting unit's a little bit weird. As an Eternal Guard starting unit, like what the fuck. Deepwood Scouts, I can see a starting unit. Wild Rider is a good starting unit, but like, what the hell is this? What the hell is this? Why did I even mention this? Okay, let's go. So, among all the factions in the game, I would say the Wood Elves and Beastmen are the most unique. But this is due to their amazing reworks. And whoever did a rework with Wood Elves and Beastmen at the CA, they did a really perfect job with the Wood Elves. While the Beastmen, I was waiting for the balance patch, never came. The Beastmen are I wouldn't be surprised if it's gonna be the most powerful faction in Warhammer 3 with second to none competition. So I don't think they understand how powerful they made the Beastmen, and hope something is done about it. There always could be making the argument like, sure, let's you know, you don't have to do it. Do it differently. Stop bitching about it. Doesn't mean if it's a campaign it should not be balanced. Balance is important to bring satisfaction, closure, and some kind of, you know, a sense of achievement, and not when everything is easy, it triggers a bunch of people, and, you know, sometimes, you know, it could be fun to replay it, sometimes it could be, you know, different to play a different faction, but when it's just strictly overpowered with no balance whatsoever, every single category of the Beastmen they forgot about to balanced. And hopefully CA is true to their word of taking feedback, and they will correct it in Mortal Empires. If they never really balance Beastmen, well, it's gonna be still a fun faction to play and perfect candidate for challenge campaigns. We can always, you know, make our own, you know, difficulty as well, but they really failed at balancing Beastmen. And that's the only issue really with Beastmen. So, I'm not even talking about Taurox here. I'm talking about Beastmen in general. Well, Taurox is God walking the earth. So, let's talk about the Wood Elves here. So, what's special about Wood Elves? They got forests around the world, and you can see these forests here. We're not going into detail here if you guys haven't watched any of the Wood Elves campaigns. So, basically, the Wood Elves wants to heal these forests to provide a variety of faction-wide effects. You can trail between these forests. It's quite a unique mechanic, and I gotta say one of the best in the game. And that's how you do a unique faction flavor. And this type of variety, I don't think can be ever matched in a historical Total War. The fact that Wood Elves exist among other 20+ factions, rip historical Total War. So you got these trees around the world, the forests. The forests have their heatlands, and with this mechanic, you're basically restoring the forest health to fill up the bar, receive bonuses, and that's basically their campaign. Well, this battle has been terribly balanced, made for pretty much easy difficulty, because the Wood Elves are a super powerful faction. The objective really doesn't matter as long as they give us more objectives, so, you know, we have reason to play longer campaigns unless we create our own objectives. So got all these forests on the map, and you're basically playing tall. Playing tall, you can play with the allies and have access to some powerful units. They're a high quality roster, and they play on a world scale. They don't just really focus in one area, which kind of makes them unique from the start. This rework has made the AI Wood Elves a little bit worse. The AI Wood Elves were always the most intimidating faction in the entire series, because Wood Elves do high damage, they're fast, and arguably the worst opponent to fight. Initially, the Wood Elves were terrifying, but they got toned down over time, and with this rework, while they are true, you know, to their flavor, the AI has definitely gotten a little bit worse as the Wood Elves. I'm not really that crazy about having every faction being, you know, active expansionist empire. This does not fit this does not even fit the Total War, even historical one. Some factions should just be passive hooching off the backs of larger empires, or being allies to larger empires, or pretty much having their own agenda. So having isolationist passive Wood Elves, especially minor factions, that's, I think, perfect. While I think factions like, you know, their main factions should definitely be a little bit more proactive in their own way. They're still better than the Vampire Coast as the AI faction, but not by much. So this is one of the areas where they can improve, but this is an area where they can improve the entire game. The AI, how the AI behaves, They can make every AI be an expansionist empire. They do it streamlined, it's a lazy way, without putting much thought into it. So they kind of, you know, sometimes create everybody like that. But every faction should have been assigned their behavior. These traits should mean something. They don't mean anything half the time, especially with the main factions. So this is a way to build different groups of AI to behave differently. And it's okay to have passive factions in the game. Not everybody should be an expansionist empire. Wood Elves should probably just stick to their heatlands, and if anybody encroaches the grounds and they don't like them, they're gonna hit you hard. And I'm perfectly satisfied with that with Wood Elves, with the exception maybe of one or two other Wood Elves faction, which could be a little bit more. But for example, anybody in Untitled Lore, especially Durtu, should be pretty passive, and anybody enters the forest, they get smacked. While the other ones might be on a mission, and especially as the campaign progresses, might you know, get at the edge of their heatlands, which is basically the forest. When I say forest, the Oak of Ages forest is basically every region that has this icon here. This is basically there should be their area around every forest. And that alone is enough for the AI to actually have a you know, unique play style. You get close, you know, the Wood Elves, if they don't like you, they attack you. One thing I really don't like about the Wood Elves is how punishing are they to fight, and how little you gain from invading the Outer Loren. Same as Norska, you're literally getting punished for expanding into Outer Loren, and you get punished to spending the Norska, while you know, you destroy a faction, and that should bring a level of satisfaction. I feel like an area of the game could be improved here. For example, if the dwarves completely eliminate the Wood Elves and capture the Outer Loren, they could get a faction-wide bonus that is built around you know, destroying the Wood Elves. Same for the other factions. And this could be an incentive enough to deal with a scary faction like the Wood Elves. Destroy all of Outer Loren, occupy all of Outer Loren, or destroy all the Wood Elves. You get a faction-wide effect. And some factions have it better, like the Dwarves. Same with Norska. Give us incentive to destroy these scumbags, and the reason to go there. There's very little reason to invade Outer Loren or Norska other than to kill them because you hate them. So I wish there was more to do about conquering Outer Loren and more to conquer Norska, but you know, that's would be asking too much. You know, these guys, maybe in the future do something about it. So Wood Elves have some of the largest settlements, some of the also most defensible settlements. It doesn't mean if you don't have walls that you can defend them. Sometimes walls are crutches for bad players, and to exploit the AI, you get a large battlefield and you get one of the deadliest rosters in the game. Use it. You don't need walls. And I think the way the Wood Elves forests are created with their rosters of garrison and the buffs is one of the terrifying garrisons in the game. There's a reason why you think twice about before attacking and invading Outer Loren. And some people think, you know, because there is no walls, you have to work for the victories. But, you know, those people should not really be bothered about variety. They should just park their armies in the corner and out-resolve their whole campaigns. So, Tal'Sin, I don't really like their faction effect. While the Orion flavor, I guess it's fine. Orion is extremely strong base stats. He's supposed to be a demigod, god walking the earth. While he does look like it, he has a little bit of everything, and he's not really amazing at one thing. If he's amazing at one thing, it would be just really high stats and harassment, because he can do a little bit of everything: melee, range, abilities. And if you use Orion 100%, he kind of was one of the original miracle workers of the Warhammer 1. Because if shit hit the fan and you have Orion left in the field, Orion is fast, strong, range, and has abilities. and unbreakable. I have been in a situation once or twice where Orion was the only survivor, and he literally destroyed the rest of the enemy army just because he's one of those characters. If you put a lot of effort into using him on the battlefield, a lot of micro, you can get some amazing results. But these results come over time, and they're not as, you know, instant satisfying, like 4 Wave Watchers focusing that unit, that unit, that unit, that unit, while you're just AFKing on a hill or inside the trees. So if people work in the Orion, you can get great results, but you have to put work. Rather micro a wizard or a cavalry. Kinda tough, because this army is specialist at cavalry. It's hard to micro something like this, melee range abilities, and then micro cavalry on the same battlefield while using wizards and the rest of the army all at the same time. That is a lot of work, and that is impossible to use effectively even for the very experienced trained players. Sometimes you just have to build an army which is conveniently used, where your you know, best talents can lie, either in reacting or just using a wizard or just using a couple of cavalry units. You can't use everything at once. And if you think you're gonna use Orion with cavalry, with a wizard, and with the rest of the army at the same time, that's impossible. That is impossible. But if you can do it, you can get some of the most amazing results of any army in the game. So you can see amazing stats. He's unbreakable, has some light armor, he's fast, high melee attack, he has frenzy, has 73 attack, has over 500 weapon strength. For some reason they gave Orion mega damage. He has also anti-large. He has he's shooting big projectiles which actually do damage. It can one-shot several entities. Black Orcs, Chosen, doesn't matter what, they all get murdered by his projectile. He actually 65 charge, and these guys actually matter, because this is one of the rare large single entities where the charge actually does something. Because you could, with Orion, what you can do, you can shoot his range, and then you can charge, then go back, shoot his range, you can charge, and you get twice the effect like that. So his reload goes on cooldown, and his charge goes on cooldown, and you can do some amazing results with him. Especially if you have to deal with a single large entity, he is a strong base stats. Other than this, he has 20 physical resistance, so if you don't have magical attacks, he's even tougher. That's his starting health over 7,000. He has Terror, Vanguard, he fire while moving, he's unbreakable. Wood Elves got Woodsman. They also got this thing called Forest Stalker. So in the trees, even better. And he has 2 abilities, so he starts with 2 skills. One skill is Bombardment, and one skill is Vortex. And for most people, I think they use Orion initially, his powerful stats, but later on only for Hounds of Orion and Hawk's Talon. So I use Vortex on infantry, Bombardment on whatever, infantry or large. So Orion basically turns into these two later on, because your army, as your army gets stronger, Orion gets more and more into these 2 abilities and nothing else. Orion can provide some buffs as well, but if you tend to use a range army, this is the only thing you're gonna use on Orion, and not his other stuff. Orion has access to 3 items. This is an enchanted item, plus 10 defense, and has some intercept leash for the whole army, and has a really crazy buff for charge. You know, his flavor for cavalry. Wood Elves have scary cavalry, and one might even say that cavalry are even more dangerous than the range as the AI. Because, you know, artillery can totally destroy the range, while you never know where their cavalry will come from, and they're really fast and they hit hard. So they get charge, they get damage, and then when you get his Horn Wild Hunt, you can activate this for 24 seconds. The whole army gets 6% charge bonus, and this is a base unit. Wild Riders, they get 70 charge bonus without anything else. Wild Riders, sometimes it's enough to do a charge into a unit with no armor, and that unit literally just gets deleted. Poof. Wild Riders, some of the most efficient killers of, you know, surprise, your unit is dead because you didn't see me coming. These all units can also be pretty fast. They still also have frenzy, so the charge value and attack value and damage value are even higher. For a light cavalry, this is one of the most terrifying light cavalry in the game. And for Orion, it's even more. There's an item here, Cloak of Isha. Melee defense, magic resistance, and some other stuff. Hopefully this item will not just translate to spell resistance, and that magic resistance will turn into ward save. It should be. He's Orion after all. He's supposed to be godly. Like we already mentioned this many times. I hope, really hope, most items, not all, but most, just turn, if it's a low magic resist into ward save, it's a high magic resist divided by 2 and turn into ward save. And most battle skills, if not all, also divide by 2 and turn into ward save. Because I repeat again, magic resistance in Warhammer 2 worked like ward save half the time, because there was so much magic around, magical attacks primarily. So if they just translate all the magic resistance from Warhammer 2 into Warhammer 3 as spell resistance, it's gonna be way worse, and especially for items, veteran battle skills. So this thing should be, you know, put some thought into, and not just, you know, magic resist does not equal spell resist in Warhammer 2. That's a bad translation, and it should not work like that. For dwarves, natural resistance, magic 25 resistance was always too much. They should translate into 25 spell resist. But item like Cloak of Isha, or for example, whatever veteran battle skills that exist here, should be ward save and not spell resist. Spell resist does work on multi-entities, but on a single entity, very little. So it doesn't really matter if some of these skills, if they have magic into spell resist, is fine. But if there is a magic resistance on veteran skills, they should divide it by 2 and make it ward save instead. And items like this should be ward save as well. This should be just 10% ward save. This is a talisman after all. Talisman's supposed to be like that. Spear of Kronos. So basically gives him some missile strength, magical attacks, recruitment cost, possible loot, and ability. I think this item is a joke. Orion is not just range, Orion is melee as well. This item should give way more, and not this lazy copy paste they created. It should provide both melee and range abilities and magical attacks on top. And it should be a weapon, not some copy pasta half-assed campaign item. Orion, I repeat, supposed to be godly. Godly. And the reason to play Orion, because he's kind of like a god. And God should be God, and not some half-ass shit with some lazy made items like Spear of Kronos. So Orion, when you pick his faction, Orion should be pretty much all-powerful compared to all of the elves. And there's power creep in the game, and he is not. His stats might say otherwise, but he should be even better. Give me a reason to, you know, use Orion how it's supposed to be used, and not a little bit of everything and then create this. Range, magical attacks, who cares, and who cares. So yeah. I fear they made his base stats a little bit too good. God, I wonder how this guy even works in multiplayer. He looks like a nightmare for multiplayer. Probably way too expensive, so people use Glade Lords or some shit. But there's no reason to create mediocre items if you create a godly base stats like this. There's no reason for that. He has a buff here. This is a range faction, archer faction, while it also has some incredible melee stuff. The whole army gets 12% reload time reduction. So yeah. Kinda hard to go into, you know, War Dancers or Blade Singers or whatever melee unit you have. And there is one single point that's stronger than most Warhammer 3 battle skills that grants the whole army, every single character, every single unit, 12% reload time reduction. Stuff like this makes the Way Watchers the best archer in the game. which they should be. There's a second one here. Speed plus 60% for elven units, so the whole army gets 6% speed. Apparently Orion is not an elf, so he does not get 6% speed. He has a buff here for attack. There's a buff here for base missile damage. Base missile damage kind of shit. This is kind of big, if especially go melee. And there's a second one here for melee defense. These two are really big. Well, this is just trash. It's base missile damage. Most Wood Elves, including Orion, have armor-piercing missile damage. This one should be just... If they want us to use this crap, it should be missile damage. Missile strength, not base missile damage, because this is missile strength. And it's divided into base missile damage. Buffing base missile damage is pointless. They should just buff missile strength. When using this ability, basically means Orion will have to stay in the back next to a couple of units, so you don't get to use it closer or for other purposes. It's only crippling. So even if this is missile strength for the sake of variety between the buffs, it will still not be a good option. For Orion, the attack or defense is better, even if you go with a range army. I think this one's a little bit too good. So this is the best option of the three. 10 defense for self and else in range, but other characters might have something like this, so you get 10 attack. They cannot all be active. They can be active with a weaker version, if they still exist. So if you go towards melee stuff and use characters combined, so make sure that they have one of each and not everybody has the same, because they don't stack. But these buffs are incredible. Oh, this is trash. So Orion, unique skills. Let me get some of this coffee before it gets cold. City's Legacy Initiative F Fortuitous Chance. Oh man. Fortuitous Chance? Why are you such a silly slicker? Imagine watching this channel, farming hard-earned shekels and then spending them on City's Legacy Initiative. What a waste. I think I just messed it up. I put it 60k. Okay, so this is what I don't like about the Wood Elf rework. They made Orion weird. So he has this buff here: Assyrian Command, Hunter Javelin Ammunition, Anti-Large. So he gets Anti-Large Ammunition because, you know, his ammunition does do high damage, so he has to get some Anti-Large bonus as well. And he gets Missile Strength plus 15%. This is okay for some micro shots or you know, fire at will. But a little bit boring opening here, but you know, fits Orion. They go again with a missile thing, while you know, his weapon is all the missile. What about the melee properties? Then you have Bounty of Kronos. Hawk's Talon gets 2 more uses, like you're going to use more than 3 in a battle. Sometimes you will, and gives him double ammunition. So you see where this is going? Hybrid Weapon Specialist. Range, range, range. This, both of skills not only should buff Orion's range, but also Orion's melee at the same time. This guy's supposed to be God. So this is just not good enough. This guy is supposed to be over the top. And what is this range buffs? Where the melee buffs? Put some melee buffs here, some melee buffs here. Okay, moving on. The Hunters Gather. All provinces have a cheaper construction cost for military recruitment buildings and faster time for military recruitment buildings, and local province gets 2 recruitment capacity. So let me tell you a thing about the Wood Elf settlements. They got a lot of slots, there's a lot of buildings, military recruitment. So you get to build this faster and cheaper. How many of these settlements are you going to get? This does sound good, but these settlements are few and limited in the world. So unless you're really bad at managing treasury, That is a really bad skill. It does have some value for tier 4 and tier 5, but look at this. 5,000, 5,000, 6,000. These buildings don't cost 10,000 or 15,000 or 20,000. They are pretty cheap already. So already, well, these skills are, you know, not really that horrible. I don't like that they forgot about the melee side of Orion. It's almost like whoever was doing this, they forgot Orion is supposed to be hybrid weapon specialist, god of the wood elves walking the earth, and they just give range buffs. And then this is just feels weird. While this one has that good intentions, might sound like it's something. If the local recruitment capacity +2 was for all provinces, that would be a good skill. Well, this is just I don't really. This is just. I can't even say average. This is just nothing really, nothing. You do need only 2 for the last one, so you can ignore this one. So at least, you know, that's a good thing. Eyes of the Forest. What the hell is this? Attribute stock during ambushes Lord's army. Campaign line of sight +25% and ambush success chance +15%. It looks amazing, right? It looks amazing, but wood elves do not have a stock stance, and one of the best ambush stance in the game now, by the way, since the rework. What am I going to do with this? I'm going to hide and I'm going to wait. Some of the most terrifying, hard-hitting, strongest armies in the game are gonna hide and wait in an ambush? What? You're telling me God with his army will be using a muscle ambush to try to ambush some inferior foe? The only saving grace for this is this only takes 10% combat moon range. So you, for example, can do something like this. Let's say you decide you're not gonna march and you don't have enough to get close to the enemy, so you're going to hide. They're most likely not gonna find you. And this, what does this do? This is not with the hopes that you're going to ambush them. This is with the hopes that you stay hidden and you catch enemy in a bad position. It doesn't even mean for ambush. This is just to hide the army. The fact you can hide the army at a very low movement, unless you think marching is better. So situational use here, which is nice because it's one of the highest chances to stay hidden. While these factors for ambush and stock during ambushes, that doesn't do anything really. If you ambush anybody, they're dead. Doesn't matter what you have. And sometimes playing to deploy an ambush and trying to ambush a foe, you lose precious turns, enemy can recover, and you can even be discovered with wood elves less so. So it's all momentum, all initiative into the recycle bin. But their stance, Master Ambush, has some uses, even in case the march stance is not good, because it's cheap to get. This is actually even better in Warhammer 3, because they finally fixed this thing, while they still have the acceptable numbers. But basically, what does this mean? You see the movement here, 12%. 12% of what? 100, 1000, 3000. So 12% of what? We assume that this is 100, and without any buffs, 12% is 12%, 12 movement. But the stances always had this weird thing where it's not really percentage anymore due to all the changes, and you know, at some point might have been percentage, but they might have forgotten or they changed it. In Warhammer 3 it says plus 50%, no, it's plus 50. It says 10%, no, it's 10. 50%, no, it's 50. So basically this 12% could be 30, and and you might still be able to move for another nearly 20 and still do the ambush. So the percentages are a little bit off, so this is a little bit better as well. So if you play in Warhammer 3, forget about the percentages. It's convoluted, deceiving. This is plus 50 movement, this costs 10, this costs 50, this costs 50, and you know, this has a special condition. So Masterful Ambush in Warhammer 3, you start in your territory. Warhammer 3 has a hidden feature where your army gets plus 10 movement if it starts in your territory. I'm not sure if it works on allied territory, I can't really confirm right now, but if you start in Kingsglade, Orion on turn 1 will have 110 movement. And what does this do? Basically, if you start in your territory, Masterful Ambush is kind of free. In a way, it's free. Take back mode. So Masterful Ambush costing 10, it's pretty good. So in a way, Wood Elves with Masterful Ambush has one of the best ways to stay hidden and get an advantage on the enemy. And this is very strong because the AI plans their moves depending if your army is visible or if your army is not here. So if Orion is here, everybody in the area is going to have to respond for him being here. But if Orion is hidden, nobody will respond to Orion being hidden around. So in Warhammer 3, the Masterful Ambush is going to be excellent, but not for the sake of ambushing the foe, the enemy, but hiding. And then the start of the turn, you reveal yourself, destroy the enemy here, 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 because they're out of position, and then take their cities. The fact that you can hide the army and they can move into you, possibly ambush on their turn, which is crazy beneficial, but staying hidden and then getting extra moves, extra battles, and then still punishing the everything being out of position for the Wood Elves, that is invaluable. Gives you like a tremendous advantage. And like I said, if you're not going to be marching, hiding the army is the way to go. And this skill is basically just line of sight. Extra ambush success chance or stock during ambushes, that's just like overkill. Overkill that it looks like it's something, but trust me, it's nothing. Staying hidden and ambushing somebody is not the same. Those are two separate things. So a little bit weird skills here. I'm a little disappointed in this. And look at this. Part the bows. This character becomes able to see enemies hiding in the forest regardless of distance. Self plus 5000 forest spotting. What the fuck is this? And this is like, this is supposed to be something special and there's nothing else on it. This should be literally available to any of the legendary lords or the lords of the Wood Elves. This is a unique skill. This might something. This looks like something special, something cool. I think the devs went with cool, but oh my god! If the rest of the skills were something good, like sure, I'll take something unique. But what the fuck is all this shit? They really ruined Orion with the rework on these things here. It's like they added give him crap. And I consider Orion one of the worst unique skills in the game. One of the worst. It doesn't need any of this. Any of this, and nothing really is relevant here. And that is disappointing. Because Legendary Lord, God Legendary Lord, Special Legendary Lords, well, you play a Legendary Lord to have access to cool character with unique skills. And you get a bunch of disappointment here. Sometimes, you know, when they do rework and when they create new stuff, they just shoot, and instead of, you know, hitting somebody, they hit their mother. And then they just pretend nothing happened, and, you know, this is the new Lord. And that's basically what happened to Orion. My recommendation for Orion unique skills, forget they even exist. Don't be that guy clicking this, and this. Please don't be that guy. If nobody picks this shit, the devs might see, you know, the stud horse at CA will see, nobody's picking these skills. We need to do something about it. So, don't pick these skills. There's already a wide variety in skills in Orion that's definitely way better. Primarily battle skills and campaign skills, but what the hell is this shit? His army's already gonna be crazy, and you don't even need this, but like, what the fuck? I don't know. This was one of the biggest misses in Warhammer 2 when they created this stuff. It's like... it's boring, it's plain, there's nothing fun about it. And I hate they did this to Orion, because Orion was used to be special, now he's no longer special. They added so many strong characters, so much power creep to the game. So unless you really want to have a Wood Elf cavalry flavor army, don't even play Orion. If nobody plays him, they might do something about him. This is sad. And this is supposed to be, like I said, a godly character. And some characters should be above the rest. And I'm not just asking to make something stronger. This guy's supposed to be super strong. It's just disappointing. He does have a skill tree for, look at this, more range, more range, more range, more speed, and hex ability that cannot move. This one is cool one. Gonna be more relevant, not just multiplayer abuse, when he's gonna have 50 skill points. And he has the melee skill tree as well. I consider way better than range, because it's stronger stats. And melee is going to be better to use Orion with his abilities than range reasons. So you got range, you got melee. Range has better ability, while melee makes him actually, you know, really tanky. And then you got the battle skills. Wood Elves used to have the best battle skills in the game, but everybody had to get their rework, their turn. And rework on the Wood Elves made Wood Elves have worse battle skills. They used to buff the whole army, now they buff specific units. And constant reminder, they like to use this template of 6 basic battle skills and 4 veteran skills. Sometimes when there's, you know, 6, you know, some units usually get something worse or something out of place. Piercing Thorns, 8 attack and 12% weapon strength. This should be absolutely incredible because it's attack and damage, but unless you're using Dryads in the early game, this is really, really bad. Because Eternal Guard, unfortunately, don't have a place in the army. Main reason I would say for this is because they require this building. And you would think this would be something, but remember, you get Glade Guard on the core building, which means you don't have to build this building. This alone makes the Eternal Guard relevant. And if you decide to use Eternal Guard with shield, not only you need to build this building, but you need to build this building as well. Eternal Guard with shields is a very cool looking unit. It's a nice unit. It's not a tier 1 unit, it's a tier 2 unit. And you don't want to get this on tier 1, and you don't want to get this on tier 2. These are some of the worst buildings to build early. Well, later on, you're going to get these buildings. So, because of the limited slots of too many important buildings to get, especially economy and growth, this is a horrible building on tier 1, and this is an even worse building on tier 2. And this makes Eternal Guard a unit that you never really use anymore with Wood Elves, which is sad to say, because I really like the look of Eternal Guard. Rip Eternal Guard with rework on the building and rework on the skills. I miss Eternal Guard, but they just don't exist anymore because of this. In case of, if you're playing what's called Durtu, you just need to build this building and you get extra Dryads. And Dryads are way better base unit than the Eternal Guard. Not only that, but they get better buffs with Durtu, and that battle skill suits Dryads better than it suits Eternal Guard. Only need one building, not two, to actually get the decent Eternal Guard. A solution could be made where Eternal Guard is put together with the Glade Guard on the core building as a tier 0 unit, and Eternal Guard with shields not require tier 2 armory. So they could just build this building to unlock Eternal Guard with shields. This could be a good fix, but seems like kinda crazy that you have to fix things like this. This just does not work. The placement of the units, the placement of the bell skills, what's available and what's not available. You know, like 2 slots, you need growth, you need income. There is no place for this and there is no place for this. So it's kind of crazy that shit like this, we have to deal with it 5 years later, where you need a second building for tier 1 unit, and the base tier 1 unit is trash compared to the, you know, alternative. You think stuff like this would have been fixed all the years ago, but we're still dealing with the same shitty systems. Is it so hard that a tier 1 slot has 2 buildings and a tier 2 has another 2 buildings? Apparently is. It's so hard to not make a tier 1 unit require a second building that's tier 2. Rocket science, right? So, Reap Eternal Guard, and this skill is only good if you're using Dryads. Only good. Dryads do have aspects which makes them really, really good, where Eternal Guard, you'll be missed. Amazing in Warhammer 1, rest in Pepperoni's Eternal Guard, you're just a garrison unit now. The second skill, Bolt to the Forest, damage and little time reduction for the shooters. This is just crazy. Not only you get better reload time, but you get more missile strength. Usually these skills have ammunition and not 2 damage buffs. So the Wood Elves get 2 damage buffs, makes them really scary. If you're gonna be using shooters, just a couple of them or a whole army, this is the main battle skill to skill. And your armies will delete everything with range. The third one are the striking branches. This is the cavalry skill, 12% speed and 12 charge. While not the best cavalry skill, I like attack and damage. They get speed and charge bonus. Not horrible either. The cavalry of the Wood Elves is usable, it's strong. And it affects most of the units. Is it me, or they forgot about missile buff on the Glade Riders? Yeah. Usually when you have skills like this, just compared with the Tomb Guards, Tomb Kings, would be a third buff that will say missile strength for the missile unit. But the Glade Riders are used only for range, and they don't have a range buff. We'll put this in the Great Book of Bugs, Immortal Empires, if it's not changed. But, you know, they just got forgotten. The Glade Riders getting speed is fine, but the Glade Riders getting charge is a range unit. It's already tuned for esports, and no range buffs on it. That's weird. Swinging Bows, War Dancers, Blade Singers, and Wild Rangers. So the quality and the elite Wood Elf warriors get attack and defense, and it's amazing, like the second best one. Sometimes the defense will be better than damage. War Dancers is a quality early game unit. They're really deadly in melee. The Blade Singers is one of the deadliest, strongest anti-infantry in the game. But Wild Range is just another quality unit. So you get War Dancers quality, Wild Range quality, and the Blade Singers are just terrifying. If their unit gets buffed and supported with magic, and it's just nothing they can delete. This is the unit that got added, you know, with a rework as well. And this is it. They're basically better sword masters because they are much faster.
Master of the Wild Hunt.
So get a pretty amazing buff here. You can start with this immediately, use the War Dancers, and then later Blitzing as the Wild Rangers, or. So if you go with melee, this is a very good one. Kind of sad that Eternal Guard is here and not here for our early build. Ancient Barak, physical resistance and armor for 3 kin and 3 men units, because you know 3 kin and 3 men don't have armor or physical resistance, they need to get some more. So my suggestion for this is Dryads, 3 kin and 3 men to be on the same skill here, and Eternal Guard being on this skill here, and this skill be removed from the game. So Eternal Guard included here, Dryads included here, and one less battle skill, and a little bit more, you know, build up from the start to the later units. This is a pretty good one, but it's still overkill for these units. And that's one extra done skill. Last one is, look at this. Weapon strength charge bonus, and they didn't forget that Hawk Riders are range unit. You can see 1, 2, 3 buffs. They remember there's a range unit, but they forgot here. So got the weapon strength for Forest Dragon, and that's about it. Unless you using the Hawk Riders with what's the name, the Sisters of Twilight, this is a really poor skill. You don't use Force Drain for damage, single anti-charge, who cares? Great Eagle is a joke. And Hawk Rider's little time reduction render boss is good for the only Sister of Twilight. So this is a skill for the Sister of Twilight. This skill should be removed. Eternal Guard added here, Dryads added here. And Glade Riders added here or here with extra missile buff. And I'll be fine here. Shield of the Forest, physical resistance, armor, and melee defense for Eternal Guard, Dryads, War Dance, Blitzings, and Wild Rangers. That's crazy good. I think it's identical to the Norscan one. This is like just perfection. Nature's Quiver, range, ammunition, and missile resistance for the archers. The fact there is ammunition and range here on top of what the first skill is makes these guys some of the best archers in the game from start to finish. Swift and Sturdy, defense damage, charge bonus for the cavalry and the Zotes. There's an extra buff here for the Glade Riders, Sister of Thorn and Hawk Riders. I forgot about these things on here. The third one missing here for Sisters of Thorn and Glade Riders. There's also missile units. This only works in rank 7. This is a pretty good one for the cavalry. And the last one, missile resistance, melee attack, melee defense for the big stuff, 3 kin, 3 men, Great Eagle, and the Forest Dragon. Good buff for the Forest Spirits and the Dragon. And the battle skills are pretty good, but a couple of things. The campaign skills, Moon Drench here. They got 3 in 1 here, QQ Greenskins. Apparently the Greenskin rework was not enough to add stuff like this, so they have still multiple things on 3 different skills. Wood Elves get everything on 1 skill, while the Greens have to get 3 skills to get stuff like this, which is also weaker than these 3 skills. So what Wood Elves get on 1 skill for 3 points, the Greenskins get worse on 3 skills for 9 points. Kekwi, missile strength during ambushes, high chance to ambush, if only ambushes were relevant. And get a public order and growth here. Would be an okay skill if it wasn't only the foresting. At least they tried something else with this one. This is just lazy. Well, you know, this is not bad to stuff things, but the ambush is not really relevant to this faction. It's only for hiding. And this one is just a little bit overkill. This one, just for the post-battle loot, is pretty good. Along this one, you need 4 skills. The previous one is basically Drop Master. Drop Master is good. Instead of local, it gives global. That Lightning Strike got 2 skills here. 2 in 1. Replenishment and upkeep production. And their own version of Down and Feared. Overall, the campaign skills of Wood Elves are pretty good, better than most races. But they still got some weird stuff, like, you know, this. Slightly better in Warhammer 3 because it's minus and not need to compete. But still, the skill should be slightly higher, and if not, with another effect. Because to open this one, you're not gonna ever put 3 points here. You're gonna secure economy and then just use last point, whatever you think is the most fitting. Most likely this for last point, because it's gonna be -1 corruption. And then you're gonna forget the rest of the skills exist. Unless you, you know, are smart and you ignore this thing here, and then you might put more of these things down here. So Orion, I find Orion disappointing after rework, because he's still pretty good. He's Wood Elf, so it's powerful. But god damn, they gave him boring ass shit unique skills, and very disappointing. There's the offices here, and some of this, you know, are pretty good. So there's a little bit of flavor with this as well. But it's a little bit all over the place. The rest of the Wood Elves faction got much better stuff than what Orion got. Orion kind of got robbed. Robbed. Yeah, that's the word. Robbed. Regarding buildings, I don't think they can do much about this. I just wish they removed this building from the game. And everything else is fine. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And there's 10 slots. Yeah, I wish they removed this one from the game. Remove this one from the game and put all these units here. That's 2 less. That will only be a huge difference. This one could be 4 tiers. The Glade Captain could be here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, well, this one removed from the game. This one turned into 4 tiers, and this one being here. All the elves being here. You got a good scaling building at least. There should be a tier 4 one here for income, and this one should be even higher. It's a 800 on tier 3, and there's a 1000 tier 5. Like, what the hell? It should be 1000 here, and probably 1400 here, or 1200. I'm missing one building here as well. These buildings could also go to tier 4, especially this one. But most importantly, I don't like this building here. I think this one should be merged with this one. Everything else is fine, more or less. Technology, well, it's pretty straightforward. Some good stuff, some bad stuff. The Ember stuff is fine. Some better stuff, some worse stuff. They kinda didn't get good buff to Dryads, I would say, on this technology tree. I don't like the fact that technology that separate elf units for the spirits, and then one group gets worse stuff. But is it how it is? No technology tree is perfect. Devs always make some bad stuff, some stuff, you know, because, you know, you're gonna think, you know, some people exist there, they're gonna use something odd, some other stuff. But there's some very good stuff here and some bad stuff here. And nitpicking about, you know, every single technology, it's like, it's never going to change. Some stuff is a little bit over the top and some stuff is weak. It's still like technology tree. They're gonna fuck up some stuff and they're gonna make some stuff too good. And then you're gonna be boring as a streamer that's gonna always take the same stuff because, you know, the rest is shit. And you're never gonna go play it differently. Because apparently you can play differently by picking shit instead of the good stuff. The second Wood Elf faction is Durtu, which I consider one of the strongest lords in the game. Is a wizard and a monster, one of the very good lores, and this lore goes perfect with his fighting abilities. Ancient Treeman has some of the most powerful stats in the game on the base, make even the great demons look bad. And Durtu is their legendary lord version. It starts at the top of Ataloran and has a flavor of forest spirits. Forest spirits being dryads, Treekin, and Treeman. Faction effects, pretty boring. Cheap recruitment for heroes and 10 attack for doing forest bells. This is some lazy, boring ass shit. Should, if they want to keep this stuff here, they should at least make this up to production. 50% cheaper recruitment for branch rates. Why not free? Kind of disappointing faction effects. Melee attack during forest battles is usable, while it's still a little bit boring. Would also roll the overpowered in the forests. So they went with some shit here. I mean, when I see a hero recruitment cost on a lord trait or a faction effect, I die inside. I just die inside and see boring ass shit like this. It's useless. I guess it's good for cycling heroes, right? And we should not be cycling heroes in the first place. Optimus Pine has some interesting lore effects. All units in Durtu's army are immune to all attrition. That alone is a good lore effect. And then all forest spirit units have 30% upkeep reduction. And forest spirits get charge bonus. While it makes sense for dryads, doesn't do shit for Treekin or a Treeman. Slow ass single entity and slow ass low offense monster infantry. Treekin are best are just standing still and let the enemy come to you. While dryads getting charges is okay. So the second effect is nothing much. Just they want to do something. I don't know, maybe they watch Lord of the Rings too many times. Well, 30% upkeep reduction is pretty good. Can Treekin even get in challenge speed? They can. They can, but it's not good. I love Durtu. Always have fun playing him. Even if he is very one-dimensional. I find Durtu fun and I play Durtu from time to time. These factions were started in Mortal Empires.
Hail to you, Durtu, eldest of the ancients. I
Stalker, they started not Lauren.
Assistance in these dark times to help.
So guys, look at this. It's turn 1. Turn 1, you just start the campaign. And this is what you get. Nearly 10,000 health, 110 armor, 90 leadership, 35 speed. Speed might be his worst thing, not just being large. 63 attack with magical attacks, 48 defense, nearly 500 weapon strength, armor piercing mostly, and 4 charge bonus, who cares. On top of this, he gets frenzy. You don't want to be close to Durtu. Not close to Durtu. And Durtu is also a wizard, which gets a strong lore, lore of beasts, has always been strong. Now that you can actually see numbers and you can just fap to them. The Flock of Doom stuff on Durtu has always been good. Now it's even better. And can cast some other stuff as well, like Curse or the Pip. But it's mainly going to be Flock of Doom and the Curse. So get some crazy stats, and as you can see, you can barely see all the abilities here, how many he has. On top of these crazy stats, which are some of the strongest base stats in the entire game, he gets 20 physical resist. Because, you know, 110 armor is not enough. So he's a demon with 110 armor, pretty much. And there is more. You know, because the devs know what's right at a time, and sometimes they don't. He even gets his Lord basic 50 miss resistance, on top of 20 physical resistance, on top of 110 armor, on top of 10,000 health. Because, you know, fuck demons and get demons, they don't need miss resistance, because they're not characters apparently. He does have fire weakness, but this is mitigated by his massive armor, health, physical, and miss resistance. Fire resistance is a little bit of a meme. Flaming attacks have always been a meme. In some way, people think that fire will actually kill the trees, but the trees are made to actually resist fire because of how their health, armor, defense, and stats are made. Unless it's magical fire, who cares? And fire does not counter undead. Stop saying that. He has Terror, Expert Charge Defense, Vanguard Deployment, Woodsman, Frenzy we mentioned, and because he's one of the Ancient Treemen, when he is in the trees, he gets more power. Starts with the lore of the Beast. And he has an arcane item, etc. So he's not even assigned a wizard here, and it's apparently fine for due to his godlike stats to get an arcane item. But Cetra, who is also a wizard, does not get arcane item. You know, these devs are very consistent. And then there is the Lamentation of Despairs. Well, sometimes this thing it's hard to activate, sometimes it hits the edge of the unit, but when it hits the center of the unit, it's like a strong blast, and that unit just goes poof. So incredible base stats and has nice flavor. On top of that, he gets this sword, 10 attack, copy pasta, copy pasta, copy pasta, and a decent ability. I think this weapon should be way stronger. Because, you know, this laziness, he starts a magical attack, he's a forest spirit. Magical attacks, really? Recruitment cost, really? Post-battle loot, really? Who the fuck is this guy who puts magical attacks, recruitment cost, post-battle loot, and untainted or corruption on every single weapon or item? Fire that guy. The ability and 10 attack is fine, but the rest of the weapon is shit, and this copy pasta laziness needs to stop. Skewering range. His whole army get more damage for Dryads and Trickin, which are going to be his core units. And Dryads are nice, especially if you try to use a lot of Dryads to get Dirt another 20% health. But, you know, don't try too hard, because the Dryads are too effective and you're never going to get gore drenched. Skin of the Woods grants 10% ward save to Trickin, because, you know, Trickin are not tough, they need more toughness. He does have this Wood Elf skill. Apparently, you know, Ancient Treemen, Durtu, they still need range buffs because, you know, they're Elves. They're Wood Elves, my bad. I don't know why Durtu has this too. They should just be unique to Orion and the Glade Lords. These 3 skills on the top. So, 10 attack or 10 defense. Durtu around Durtu. Usually there's units next to Durtu, so this is great stuff. 10 defense is the way to go. His unique skills, Ancient Enmity. Enemy siege hold time -3. You know, because apparently, you know, siege attacker and having a godlike siege monster is not enough. You want to surround them. and 33% cooldown reduction to Lamentation Despairs, which I guess is good because you can use it many times. Just make sure that you're not trying to use the unit next door to it. Has to have some minimum range, but it doesn't say. Bow Warden, power, ward save, and defense. Ward save in the forest battles. So, because, you know, Wood Elves are not good in the forests already. They're not already literally just out-winning every forest. But they need 10 more attack during forest battles. And Durtu has to have another skill that grants the entire army another 10% ward save. If you go in a forest and you get all the forest buffs, this army is godlike. Nobody even dies, and you can even heal them. 5 defense for all units when defending. Should a little bit extra. This is not a bad skill. This is actually just right for a, I think, Legend Lord skill. There's a little bit of everything. Obviously, this power reserve will be max power reserve and not just increased when increasing. Ward Bark, fire resistant for Dryad, Streak, and Treatment, because you know fire is bad, even if you have good health, armor, physical resist. And 15 armor for Dryad, Streak, and Treatment, because you know these units don't have enough armor. They need to get even more armor. So basically, there's this. This is a forest. You see, this is a forest. This is not a forest. Sometimes the devs use these words interchangeably, where on the battlefield, forest and the trees is the same thing. While you can see Wildwood Rangers here, unit is not in a forest. So basically, this ability will not work in a forest. This unit has to be inside the trees. Trees is a visual graphical thing on the map, while sometimes devs forgot to assign the forest buff adjacent to the trees. So you get a forest as a battlefield, and it will tell you when you mouse over things, and that's kind of a little bit important to the Wood Elves, especially if you try to utilize buffs. And then there is a battlefield where you enter a light forest or a grassland. You have trees and forest on the battlefield, which are different. So for example, Bow Warden, 10% ward save during forest battles and 10 attack during forest battles means in a light forest you're gonna get that buff, while in a grassland inside the forest you will not get that buff. But forest Stalker and Guardians of Wildwood will work only inside a forest on a battlefield. Even if the whole battlefield is inside a forest, they have to be inside the trees. Rage of Kronos, buffs Peep and Wisdom Wild form. Sure, let's discuss it more. It's actually nice. It's actually nice. Gives you more options to cast buffs. And there is the Oaken Hearts. The whole army gets leadership in attacking, and vigor loss reduction minus 3% for the whole army. I think just for vigor loss reduction is cool. All the skills are really nothing special. There's a little bit stuff here that's you know, useful, especially to Durtu's flavor and strengths. And then the last one is enabled awakened forest tradition local enemy armies. So we never really seen this one to full extent. But what does this do? If you are in a Adaloran, you take attrition, and wherever Durtu moves, this attrition exists. So let's say Durtu moves in an area, and that area has 2 armies, and those armies stay in the area where Durtu is. They will take some attrition. And how much is this attrition? It's actually pretty decent, unlike the shit chaos corruption attrition, which need to be fixed. So this is almost as good, if not slightly better, than vampiric corruption attrition. While it's like 5 to 6 times better than chaos corruption attrition. But abilities like this, not very good. Extremely situational, depending how the AI ends their turn. So this is nothing special. It is kind of unique, but it's not convenient to expect get any benefits out of this. So unique skills all over the place, still better than Orion. No, it's acceptable. Honestly, nothing really special or crazy. They do support his flavor. And for me, that's good enough. Got his melee skill tree, which makes him kind of crazy. And then you have the lore of the beasts. And everything else pretty much the same as the Orion. So basically, Durtu, Dryads, 3 kin, 3 men, maybe a hero or 2. And these things, the forest spirits, have access to aspects, which kind of makes them even cooler. So you can use some gold and give a unit an aspect. An aspect provides some strengths at a cost. Like, you can lower the AP damage on Dryad to make them strong against infantry and harder to hit. Or you can lower their physical resistance to give them more damage and more speed. Keep in mind, this unit is only really fast for 3. And they get good charge bonus in this army. So they kind of like shock infantry for this army. So if you add this, you kind of make them squishier. But they are gonna get way deadlier. By having more AP, the charge automatically gets stronger. All the loss of physical resistance not really mean much in the early game, they still have 60 armor. So if you want to get aggro Dryads, this is probably the way to go if you're trying to get gourd ranged. Probably the way to go. Kill the enemy faster while take massive casualties and get 20% more health. Oh, this is probably the best option if you don't care about the health. The Dryads do have some lacking buffs and technologies, because they kind of a little bit forgot about the forest spirits proper buffs, but they do get okay battle skills. Dudu has his own offices. Giving it a little bit more flavor for own territory. No, this is how the AI should be, literally just staying around. The other 2 Wood Elf factions are the Warhammer 2 factions, and a little bit, you know, what do you call that? What when they call it when they list new stuff and they charge money? A power creep, yes, they got power creep. This is a unique lord, and most importantly, there are 2 girls, and you know, look at that. That sells. That sells. Dragon and 2 girls. Faction effects, Forge of Date, craft and upgrade unique weapons, armor, and items offered by the Master Smith Lord Date. Get a unique mechanic on top. This was a little bit trash at the start, but they improved it. All armies get 10% more ammunition, because you know, Wood Elves, you know, need more ammunition, so you know they need to shoot people more. Valley of Kronos for the Hawk Riders. Oh my god, that is not only crazy, but it is a lot of fun. Their army has cheaper upkeep on missile units, more attack for flying units, and 15% charge bonus for flying units. God damn. Got 15% more charge. 15%, that's a lot. Sometimes even +5 charge bonus. Okay. They do start with Great Stag Knights, and they give Great Stag Knights to this faction and not to Orion. Because, you know, this is going to totally be a usable unit on the ground for a flying faction. Other than that, they do start outside Ateloren. They start in Nagorod. They do Witchwood. But the Wood Elves can travel all over on the map, and I assume they added more forests on the map. I assume there are forests here. Looks like a forest here. Is that a forest? Jungles of Qian, that looks like a forest. There might be another forest. So it looks like they added more forests, which means more buffs with Wood Elves. There is the... yeah. At least one more forest is in the game.
Greetings, sisters of Twilight.
A Gorst might be in the forest as well, so 2 more forests. So you get a very powerful Legendary Lord with a very powerful faction effect. Not only is unique, but supports a different playstyle. What is the soundtrack? I don't remember this. When did they patch this? Maybe when they fix the Forge of Date. So you get a Forge of Date, and you get a really powerful fun flavor. Suck it, Orion, you get shit. So, Sisters of Twilight, flying ranged lord really fast with various abilities. Most likely, you know what they call the gunship. So a gunship in the air, strong missile attack. Can also fly down if needed. They do get access to some abilities. They're hard to kill, and they do get access to a dragon. So even that. The fact that they're flying Legend Lord Wood Elves makes them kind of like over the top. But the fact they have flavor that supports a different playstyle makes them fun and literally overpowered. As these units get Volley of Kronos. And now imagine if you have 10 of these units in the army, or 15, and each one of them uses a Volley of Kronos at the same time. You can see the enemy army in the distance, poof, 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 poof. Or their quality units, poof, 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 poof. And then, if that's not enough, the Hawk Riders will get close and they're gonna start shooting. And that's not enough if you run out of ammo. Well, they do have 10 additional attack and turn this into a stronger melee unit. They didn't have the good melee abilities before, just charge. And gives you a reason to use this crap skill here, because they're not only gonna get better melee, but better range as well. So a powerful flavor, very strong, unique mechanic, and a unique Legendary Lord. What more to ask? So the skill tree, they do have ability here, which is basically they can switch between anti-large and anti-infantry range attack, like a gunship. They can fire while moving, get pretty good damage. There's a buff if nobody's close, and when they get low health, they heal. Access to Dragon, rank 12, as a quest belting. Challenge to date, date's favor, plus 30% chance to earn additional date's favor after battles. I'm not sure what they've done exactly with this, but I think it's been usable in before, but it felt a little bit lacking as a mechanic, so they added something more with it. I have not played it since the rework, but I assume it's now even more powerful than it was before. So this faction is more powerful and fun than before. The usual Wood Elf Lord range buff. So reload time reduction on an arm is going to be all range. Speed on an arm is going to be super fast. And the usual stuff here on top. And unique skills, inseverable. 10% ward save and wound recovery time -3. This makes them pain in the ass as the enemy. for the player is decent for accidents, and you know, 10% ward save is always nice in skills. Queen's Emissaries. Public order local growth, similar to that one here. Nice copy pasta. But diplomatic relations with other elves. And this is what I like with this faction. They can make pretty much stay neutral between dark elves and high elves, and easier times with wood elves. So they have easier diplomacy with other elves, and this is not gonna change. This is gonna be even better, I think, in Warhammer 3. And you can do other things. Instead of, you know, dealing with dark elves or high elves, you might just coexist, not pick a side, and do other stuff, like trail the world or kill other troublemakers. They're not elves. Nestor's Vigilance. 1, 2, 3, 4 buffs here, because, you know, 2 would be not enough. Move the range line side, replenishment, and Guardian, because, you know, they need all that. Not enough stuff. Aron's Reckoning. More forest heat for winning battles in magical forest of their heatlands for the army. So they will build up the forest cell faster, personally. Higher ambush success chance and more money from raising post-battle loot. Post-battle loot buffs are nice for the wood elves, especially since the rework post-battle loot is a way to build up treasury. Goes well with this one. So 2 skills based on the basic campaign skills. So the guy was probably like, how am I gonna do this? What do they have here? I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna put here, I'm gonna add some stuff. I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna put here, I'm gonna add some stuff. Good job, good job. What's else? Masters of the Ares. Physical resistance 10% for flying units, Lord's Army, cheaper upkeep for flying units and Lord's Army, and Vanguard deployment for the Great Eagles for the Dragons, and they get Vanguard deployment as well. So pretty good, because they tend to go with just Hawk Riders. The only ground units will be the heroes. You don't need anything else other than the Hawk Riders and the heroes in this army. And the last skill here is, look at this, 5% ward save for the whole army. And all armies, additional volley of Kronos. A build number of users +1 for all Dragon Breaths attacks all armies. How fucking amazing is this? Compare this to Durtu skill or Orion skill. Man, I wish Durtu and Orion get 5% ward save for the whole army. Let alone the other amazing benefits. That is incredible. All 3. I think this skill alone is better than all the unique Orion skills combined. And their melee and ranges combined here as well. If you haven't played Sisters of Twilight, you missed out. This was a really fun campaign. God damn, Sister of Twilight is so good. Once you get Ember, which is unlocked by doing rituals to heal the forests, you can unlock these powerful technologies. Like 35% initial for all armies, you know, or 15% better reload for all armies, because, you know, they don't have all enough range buffs. Resilient is special to them. What are you talking about, resilient? They got special one here, 10 physical resistance. Yeah, they got even more. And if every lord in the game was like Sister Twilight, this would be like one of the best games of all time. But in strategy genre, already is. Who the fuck is gonna top Warhammer 2? Not even CA will be able to top Warhammer 2, I think. Unless they put a whole team on Warhammer 3.
Twin defenders of the glades.
Yeah, 30 physical resist and 15% ward save without items. And the last lord is a scary dryad. I didn't really thought much about this one, but goddamn, they delivered something else. Draika has cheaper upgrade for all dryads, 3 kin and 3 man units, all armies, and a higher upgrade for the elf units, all armies. She does start with 1 ember, and the elf units in her armies are a little bit weaker. She starts with giant wolves, malevolent dryads, and malevolent 3 kin. 3 men, my bad. She also starts in a different position, Griffinwood in the Empire. She buffs dryads in her army. She kinda has the best dryads. She kinda hates Wood Elves, and it seems intimidating to go into Wood Elf Forest with her, but she's been granted tools and just enough to even appear very early there. I enjoyed Draika, and it was a definitely different Wood Elf experience. It reminded me a little bit of Dur stuff, but just, you know, different. Her start is different, and then already makes her unique. The fact you have to invade Ataloran is cool as well, but might be intimidating for some people.
Mighty leader.
So she starts here. This is the Glamoured. So you don't really want to use Wood Elves. So you don't really care about these units. The malevolent forest spirits have Frenzy, which only makes them better than Durtu ones. And she was the reason why Durtu also got aspects. As the Lord, she's basically a legendary Lord version of Branch Raid. So a little bit all over the place. A fighter and a wizard. But pretty decent stats, I would say. Nothing really that special. Her flavor is the most special thing about her. Get some physical resistance, missile resistance, the scary fire weakness, a bunch of other properties, including frenzy. She has this ability here, which gets stronger as she loses health. So it starts with 5 base damage, 5 attack. And goes up to 15 attack. She has the Blessing of the Ancients and has Lore of Shadows. Lore of Shadows is pretty damn good in Warhammer 3, even you know, with the nerf. She also can summon a unit of Dryads from the very start. That's pretty good. Her item is Quaddle Unchained. She does have get a unique. Was it a hero? I actually forgot. Was it a hero Treeman? I think it was a hero Treeman, right? It gets a really strong hero, if I remember right. She also has Malevolent Ancient Treeman instead of the regular Ancient Treeman, which do have access to some power stuff. I wish literally every faction had traits like this. This is incredible stuff. That's how this is how you do traits. This is how you do traits. Character defining. Attacks cause dampen effect, reducing magic resistance, which in this case is going to be spell resistance. The Forest Spirit is going to be automatically stronger in Warhammer 3 because magical attacks are stronger, along more magical resist. Winds of Magic calls for Oak Mind's Razor as a buff for damage. It's expensive spell, not really worth casting. What's the issue with these things? They don't have a good duration. Even 32 seconds, it sounds good, but you gotta cast Spirit of Shade instead. I would like to see stuff like this have a proper duration. I think Oak Mind Razor should be over 50 seconds. So yeah, there's no real reason to cast stuff like this unless you have a lot of power. This is a big damage buff, but Dryads don't need magical attacks. So unless you're gonna benefit with this from this ability to get magical attacks, not much. You're just gonna get 50% flat damage. You might as well cast Miasma, Penumbra Pendulum, and Pit of Shades. I think spells like this should might have much higher duration. At least another 10 to 20 seconds at least. Duration on a lot of these buffs is lacking compared to damage abilities. It's all been like this, but if you had a lot of power, it didn't really matter in a campaign. Nature's Vengeance. And let's go from the top. Same as Durtu, Dryad Trick and spell, Dark Heart. So she gets a unique skill here, which grants armor-piercing damage, speed, and charge bonus to her special units, and Scent of Blood, Frenzy to some of her special units. God damn, that's pretty cool. And she gets Wild Spirits and Beasts. And look at this, Raise Dead. And these units buffed are pretty decent. Giant Wolves are pretty much scarier dire wolves. They get pretty good buffs. There's some other stuff here, like Malevolent Dryads. The fact you can do this, like this, holy shit, that is amazing. There's also have giant spiders, which it felt a little bit off. Because you think they would be armored and better than the giant wolves, but the giant wolf speed and attack animations. I think this was an issue with constant applying of charge bonus, and this was fixed. So the giant spiders might be a little bit better now, just because giant wolves got a little bit worse. These are basically the fell bats, but they're not undead. So I get a bunch of units here. It's pretty cool. You can get the Dryads here like this as well. Raise Dead, and a pretty good one as well. And she does get buffs for these units, they didn't forget. Nature Vengeance. 10 more charge for the Forest Spirits. And Roused of Red ability against increased range, and the Summon Dryads no longer degrade. God damn. So the range gets doubled and then no longer degrade. You know, you would think developers creating this ability, they would, you know, got hint, summon units campaign, Skaven, knock. Like, why the fuck they give this to her and don't fix the rest of the summon units in the campaign? I get brain damage when I see clan rats just die all from heart attack. Why can't we have technologies like this for the Skaven, where it affects summon units? Summon units from the Lord of Plague and Menace Below. So this one is pretty damn good on the ability change alone. And she'll be able to do it twice. Summon units that are actually good and they don't degrade. Holy fuck, that is really good. Roots of Woe. She gets 20 charge, yay! Weapon strength plus 7%, and ability Pageant of Strikes. So I'll get a Hex ability for the debuffs range. Whatever. Goes with her flavor, right? Indoctrinator. Wins a magic reduction for Melkot's Mystifying Miasma MMM and replaces Glamour possibility with Insidious Glamour for all elf units. Lord's army. You don't give a shit about elves in her army. But cheaper Miasma? Sign me up. I'm a fan of Miasma, especially when you have characters like this, it adds up. And when it's cheap and gonna be used every time it's off cooldown, it adds up a lot of damage. Miasma is probably one of her best damage dealing abilities without, you know, getting situation because Pendulum or Pit of Shades. But the fact she can get Miasma way cheaper, I don't know. She'll be able to grind things better. She engages a unit of infantry and Miasma slowly damages everybody. Her splash attacks all of a sudden deal kills. You don't have to repeat for overkill splash damage. Which, how many splash animations get lost there? Anybody that fights like this with Miasma is way more efficient at killing. Shifting Woods. Ambush, Fear and Terror when ambushing, and Befuddlement of Mischiefs. This ability for her, basically, will stop units from moving around her. A little bit off as well. Ambushes. I really wanted ambushes. We already explained it's mainly for hiding, not for ambushes. Ambushes with Wood Elves are, you know, nice when you get them, but they're total overkill. And so out of place, it's hiding that matters, not ambushing. The Natural Order. Unlock hero recruitment branch rate all provinces, and hero recruitment cost minus 25% for branch rates, and hero recruit rank plus 3 for branch rates. It doesn't say faction wide or local province, but you know, you could think it's faction wide there. For the branch rates, otherwise, you need. Well, she actually gets a better building here. Okay, this is a. I forgot about this. This is a unique one. She gets a unique Forest Spirit building. Malevolent Trim in tier 3. Malevolent Trick in tier 2. She gets an excellent building here. I guess she gets it like this because she has to invade Ataloran. And the last one here is Mantra of the Fallen. Enemy leadership minus 8 for alien units, local enemy armies, which adds up with fear. Significant. So makes the terror better. Early game even better. Leadership plus 8 for Dryads, 3 keen 3-man units in her army, so not gonna get overwhelmed if they get a lot of damage in short time. And rounds are built against additional charge and infinite range. God damn. Is it me or she has like the best summoner built in the game? Orion. What the fuck? What they have done to you? She gets like the best, coolest summoner built in the entire game, and Orion gets dick. Lord of Shadows. She can be built to be quite tanky. And get a flavor with, you know, scary forest spirits taking revenge on the elves. The only thing that's going to be a little intimidating for this faction is invading Ataloran. You do start with 1 Ember. That is really cool. So you can unlock this immediately. 20 physical resist for cave bats, feral manticore, giant spiders, greyhawks, and giant wolves. Those poor elves when a horde of monsters enter the forest. These units are a lot of them just counter elves. And then on top of that, all your malevolent treemen get Morse engine. Yeah. It's pretty good. She starts in the same place in the Empire. So, what did Wood Elves get? What did Wood Elves get? It looks like there's a forest here. And forest here. They added 2 more forests in the game, which grants more faction-wide bonuses to the Wood Elves. And that's it, I think. Just 2 more forests for the Elves is pretty good. I mean, look at this one. This one is kind of special on the other side of the world. Wood Elves can go there immediately, right? And one in Lastria. I only see 1 forest here. Did they add another forest other than the sacred pools? That's already been in the last year. There was 1 in the Empire. My bad. 2 in the Empire. 1 in Ataloran. That's 3. 1 on Ulton 4. 1 in Nagaroth 5. 1 in Lastria 6. 1 in Southlands 7. 1 next to the mountains. Border Princess, that's 8. 1 has been added here. It's 9, and now they have 10 forests. Just 2 more forests. That's significant. That's from 8 to 10. And it looks like they cover the rest of the map just nice. Get a forest here and here. I think this area don't really make sense for a forest, right? Who do we have next? Okay. Beastmen are next. Isn't me and the Beastmen like the strongest faction of Warhammer toward the end, and possibly the strongest faction Warhammer 3 as well? We'll see, most likely. Let's do a short break before we talk about this. See you in a bit. Hey back, boys. So, Beastmen. That was the first campaign pack in Warhammer 1 and the first like relevant DLC in Warhammer 1. Did break the monotony of just replaying the original factions at the time. Was pretty cool at the time, and then for many years they just gotten worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, to the point where it just felt miserable to play. And then at the end of Warhammer 2 they got their rework, and now they are possibly one of the strongest, if not the strongest, factions in the game. I don't think this is gonna change much in Warhammer 3. This is basically one of the Chaos factions, and they got the best shit. Norska got crap, and the Wars of Chaos are kinda even in a worse state. Beastman looks like Kazrak is close to Midland now. Morgor is in Estalia. Taurox is in Obsidian Peaks. And Malagor is in the Badlands. You know, pretty same stuff. They just replaced Kazakh and Morgor. What's special about the Beastmen? Well, their playstyle, they're quite unique, and they got a powerful roster of primarily melee units. And most importantly, the lords are cool. So, raise attributes, Hearthstones and Bloodgrounds. Raise Hearthstones and settlements to create Bloodgrounds to ravage, thus enhancing your warhead in the name of Dark Gods. This is like one of my favorite mechanics in the game. The red is a currency, which winning battles and completing objectives earns the right to spend on expanding a unit and hero capacity, securing Legend Lords or other upgrades. Basically do things with this. Aggressive unit draws with a variety of fast-moving beasts and monsters. So, Kazrak is basically the Beastman melee lord. It's like Beast Lord, just legendary version. And I like lords like this because I like to, you know, see how far they can go. So it's kind of like in the Grimgor tier. In a way, a little bit better. So the most unique thing about the Beastman Lords is where you start on the campaign map, while the Beastmen will have access to Confederate all others, no problem. They released this faction, but they forgot to post-release patch it. They were more worried about breaking and fixing cavalry than you know, patching Beastmen or patching the bugs they created with the Empire. So I really like Beastman playstyle. It's totally different compared to other stuff, and it feels satisfying to clear the map with them these days, just because of Hearthstones. And each of the Beastmen is unique in their way, but one of them stays about the rest, because he got released in Warhammer 2, and he actually got a mechanic. So they tend to release factions initially. They have their core mechanics, and then they release a new faction in that race, like Tears of Twilight. And they got the same thing as the Wood Elves, but they got more. And what's over the top as well, these lords are also new and shiny with the new stuff that the old lords don't have access to. So the new stuff tends to be, you know, what they call power creep. I'm not a fan of them creating mechanics on top of everything without considering how it affects the other factions. This kind of puts a big difference, you know, what you're gonna pick and how you're gonna play the campaign. While creating every faction to have their own legendary lord and mechanic would be quite the undertaking. You should probably strive to do that, even if it's just some minor faction like Imrik, where he has a free faction with a mechanic instead of a faction with no mechanic. So Kazark starts in Warhammer 3 next to Midland. He has a story around Boris Todbringer. His faction effects are cheaper dread cost for all unit capacity upgrades, so you can unlock unit capacity upgrades. It's another faction with unlocks unit capacity. All armies have a higher success chance to ambush, and all characters have a higher chance to evade being intercepted when using the beast pads with a special movement stance. Kazark himself has reduced bestial rage penalties and detection chance while in hidden encampment stance. So he counts the best hidden encampment stance, so if he hides, it's gonna be next to impossible to find him. Attribute Vanguard deployment for Razgor chariot units. This is the Razgor chariot. It's a heavy chariot unit. Vanguard deployment for Bestigor units. These are Bestigor units, the Beastmen heavy infantry. And enable poison attacks for all Ungor units in his army, so beneficial in the early game. Well, he starts with already 2 Bestigor herds and Razgor chariots, which already get him somewhere. Let's talk more about when this loads. Because of the Hearthstone and how the Dread works, I think Beastmen will be one of the strongest factions in Warhammer 3. Definitely top 5. Beastmen are render of civilizations, and they do have their own encampments now. They'll create blood grounds, or they raise Hearthstones and basically mark the area as their hunting ground, and nobody can resettle there. Basically destroying the whole world while expanding the areas where they kill. I hear pills, it's toothpicks.
A greeting. In return for the dread of the...
Oh boy, did anyone even play Kazark when they released Aurochs? I don't think anybody played Kazark when they released Aurochs. Goddamn advisor, why you break my game? What happened? The game blocked. The game bricked. Imagine making some kind of tutorial intro for the new stuff and then it actually just breaks the game in the middle. Any other new PC? Ordering components in a few days. I'm getting a 380 Ti. There's no point getting 390 Ti. In my way, reason there's no point getting i9.
Dwi Gwis, a greeting in your tongue, my bestial lord. I know you feel a yearning to kill me, for I am.
This time didn't even show me that shit. Okay. So you can see on the top marks of ruination. As you raise stuff, you unlock various bonuses. When the areas go down, they can raise a hearthstone and mark the area in a blood ground. And that's when the fun begins. I find this system a lot of fun to cover the whole world in ruin and destruction. And you can do it quite nice with this faction. So, this is the rewards of the Dread, where you spend the Dread currency to unlock unit capacity, Legendary Lords, heroes, upgrades, and unlock items. This has been designed so well that it's a little bit too good. Too good. Too good. This is probably the most imbalanced thing about this, that for only 1200 Dread you can unlock a Legendary Lord. And what I say, Legendary Lords, acquiring more Legendary Lords, that's when the imbalance starts and issues start. And this has been terribly balanced. You can unlock pretty much 2 factions, 3 factions, 4 factions, and gain ridiculous advantage in the very short time in the campaign. Tarok's the Brass Bull faction is the strongest faction in the game as well. While Malagor, Morgul, and Khazarg are the upgraded Warhammer 1 factions. So this guy gets another mechanic on top. So you basically can start with Taurox and do this for the other guys, and then get Taurox mechanics on top. This is amazing, the rewards of Dread, but I think it's poorly balanced. It should probably be way more expensive. Maybe even a cooldown. Well, I think unit caps are fine, and the upgrades are fine. Items, on the other hand, I don't know. I feel like there should be more. The fact there's not that many options, you'll tend to pick up the same ones. I would like to see more items. Easily add another 5, for example. So, Khazarg. The technology been reworked. They used to have the worst technology, now have actually pretty decent technology. The Beastmen have the simplest technology in the game, but they made it good enough. It's basically like unlocking strong campaign effects. It's very simple, and instead of separating multiple things into, you know, like a branch of technology, it has a requirement and you get a good buff then. Like, win a battle with at least 4 heroes in your army, you can unlock Guardian for all lords and heroes. So Khazarg is a legendary lord, beast lord. So basically he's a beast lord with higher stats, and that's it. That might not sound very impressive. His chariot is on the best infantry killers in the game, and does have access to 2 items which are not horrible. Attack, damage, discourage, chaos, corruption, post-battle loot, scourge, ability. Now this is just acceptable for an item if you ask me. Well, I just wish the chaos corruption actually did something. Yeah, it has too much high resistance on chaos corruption, unlike some other corruptions on the same difficulty. Scourge and Dark Mail. The Dark Mail, magic resistance, this is an item is fine to just keep the spell resistant, because once Khazarg against it, melee gets 20% ward save. This is a little bit different, but I don't really care for the extra condition to get ward save. Khazarg will be in melee all the time. This guy will be a lone mower of infantry, has a crazy splash and gets really good damage. I think we have one of the pictures with Khazarg. Khazarg. This is Khazarg before rework. Khazarg before rework. This is Khazarg without Sword of Cain. This is Khazarg without Perfect Vigor. And this is a bunch of dead orcs, Biggins and the orc boys. So he's a killing machine, and you can push him quite far with this. You can get him in more powerful. Get stuff like looking like this, for example. This is Khazarg with the Sword of Cain with nearly max buffs. The Perfect Vigor, I think, was bugged for this faction or something. But there you go, Khazarg on foot with Sword of Cain. This is Khazarg and his chariot. Khazarg and chariot is stronger than Khazarg on foot. The chariot has extra attack animations and better splash, even if this looks like higher stats. So you get a pretty amazing fighter lord, which I think it's a lot of fun to play because how much you can push him. And even if he seems a little bit basic, you know, Grimgor-like, is really deadly. Especially once you get the Razgor chariot. Beastmen have Fueled by Blood. It's like a strong version of the Vigor stuff. So 25% and speed for the whole army. Look at that. Whole army gets 2 buffs. Some copy pasta here. Bloodlust here, so he can buff himself even with more damage. Magic resistance, mist resistance. It's probably gonna be spell resist. And he gets quite a bit of skills here. So other than his fighting line, he also gets unique skills. Bestial Cunning, ambushes, attack, defense, and high chance to ambush. This guy has a very high chance to ambush, especially his faction. Chance of ambushing any army, this force attacks. So what do we have here? Ambush chance 60%. Oh, there it. So basically, when the Beastmen attack, they can ambush. The Beastmen do not have very impressive movement range, and they don't have much stance. So their stance is a little bit bare bones, but when they're attacking, they can ambush. This was the original thing with the Beastmen. And the Beastmen don't have the penalty on this like the Skaven or Aletanar. And this guy built up will have the high chance to ambush. So this terrain was the regular 45% grassland, but this faction has plus 15%, so it was a 60% chance to ambush there. And ambushes with a stomp and melee faction are just slaughters. We can ambush here. Double 60, no ambush, nice. Anyways, once you get a more ambush, you get more reliable in here. This is a regular terrain, 60%. So that skill puts him to 75. Ambush trait to 80% on basic terrain. Do they even have extra ambush here like the Skaven? Oh, there is another 10% chance, okay. So yeah. So Khazar can be made reliable to ambush as good as any Skaven Lord. Not as good as Snitch, but pretty good. Another 10%, all armies. Okay. I don't believe we can ambush in city zone of control. Okay, I can see ambush there. Anyways, this guy is specializing in ambushes, hard ambushes, and armies in the field are all gonna get slaughtered. Higher reinforced range wall characters, so positioning around. This is sometimes actually gonna be useful because once you raise a city, your character will move from here to like here. So reinforcement range will help against the random nonsense thing they added with one of the updates. And higher chance to intercept anybody trying to flee. Nothing really crazy about this one, but I guess it's special because it's for all the characters. Hordes of the Drakvald. 6 attack for the Ungors, Gors, Bestigors in his army. Charge bonus as well. So he has an extra buff for the Bestigors. Bestigors is his flavor unit. So if you wanna get the best buff Bestigors, he's the way to go. Houndmaster gets a big buff for the Chaos Warhounds, Rezgor Herds, and the Harpies. Harpies actually getting 10 charge and 10 anti-infantry, that's something. A Flock of Doom in the air of Harpies adds up and it can mutilate anybody. I'm actually really happy he gets this skill here. Because I'm always been a fan of Harpies with Beastman, even back in Warhammer 1. Manslayer, higher chance to get magic items, steal items. Fear against men for army, and Khazar himself gets terror against men. So gets a little bit around skills all over the place. And look at this, it's a terror against specific stuff, fear against specific stuff, but at least has 2 additional effects attached to it, not just terror. I think they put some thought into this, and I like that they made this faction a hard chance to ambush. That's pretty nice. His army will also have more attack and defense during ambushes. Unlike the Wood Elves, the Beastman ambushes are more relevant. Not just for hiding, but also they'll be ambushing an attack. As you can't really march with this faction, you're going to be moving. Usually in camp. At the end of the moment. His hidden encampment, I don't think can get discovered, because it's a special one, a well-hidden encampment. The last skill here is Stalk for Gors, Bestigors, Chaos Warhounds, Rezgor Herd, and Harpies. The whole army gets Strider and Vigorous Loss Reduction. Fucking hell, man, this is like beyond incredible. Harpies and Bestigors with Stalk. And they can be deployed in their face as well. This is incredible for the sieges, this is incredible for the field battles. This is how you do it. So Kazakh is seems like a rather basic fighter, while he can get exceptionally strong. But they definitely done him justice with a wide variety of skills for the faction and for himself. And you might not be, impressed. Harpies, Bobs. Stream, what you talk about? Harpies are shit units. Well, I guess you never seen me use Harpies with this faction. So, really strong buff for Harpies, and they're going to get even better with the extra buff here. Harpies also gets incredible battle skill. If you want to have fun with Harpies, Beastmen. Beastmen, trust me. Real Flock of Doom. And this guy makes them even better. Other than that, has some unique Beastman stuff here. You can get additional attack and damage, and additional damage for the whole army. Or defense, missile resistance, and additional missile resistance for the whole army. This is pretty cool stuff. Puts them way over the top. Very basic, yet full of flavor. I like it. Regarding the battle skills, Fury of the Herd, Leadership and Melee Defense. That's gonna be for the early game, and later Bestigors. While the leadership, you know, could be useful early on, later on not so useful. Leader of the Rocious Host. This is a buff for mainly Centigors, but also used for chariots. And the fact they get 3 buffs is, I don't know. This is the second unit in the game that gets 3 buffs for some reason. 3 buffs. Sure, I'll take it. Most factions in Warhammer 3 get like barely 2 buffs. There are factions in Warhammer 2 that get 3 buffs in some of the units. While the Centigors are not the high quality, and the chariots are imbalanced units against infantry, you can still have fun with them. And the fact you get some nice buffs is very nice. There is a range buff here for the Ungo Raiders, Centigors, Throwing Axes, and the Cygor. And look at this, they get 3 buffs as well. Who was this guy who started giving units 3 buffs? Why he didn't work on Warhammer 3? Meanwhile, there are units in the game that get half buffs. And there are guys that get 3 buffs. Hey QQ. Beast Lord Slash. 8 attack, 12 charge with Warhounds, Resgor Herd, and Harpies. I don't know about you guys, but using Harpies for years, when I saw this, I had tears in my eyes. They're just creating right now already. 22 charge bonus for the Harpies, 8 attack, and 10 anti-infantry. And they attack from the sky. You won't be able to countercharge them. You're going to take it, and you're not going to give it. Well, the Harpies don't look very impressive on the base. For a tier 2 unit, I think they're pretty good. They're basically a flying melee infantry. Has a little bit lacking armor, so it gets murdered by range. But they get decent damage in charge and defense as well. They're fast too. When you start adding buffs and when you start adding numbers, Harpies work best in numbers, 2 or 3. Wondrous things happen, wondrous. And when they start getting experience, incredible tier 2 then. And I'm just glad that you can actually utilize a unit like this very well in a campaign. It's actually not only fun to use but strong as well. The next battle skills is 8 attack and 8 defense for Minotaurs. For those not very proficient Beastman player, Minotaurs, that's all there is. All there is. And some people think since the Beastmen now got unit caps and they have to unlock Minotaurs, they got worse than before. But they forgot about the rest of the roster of the Beastmen and the new additions. Minotaurs have a really incredible melee performance, one of the deadliest melee units in the game. Starting with the regular Minotaurs. They're fast and they're deadly, and somebody decided they should have 18 anti-infantry as well. This guy gets into melee, everything dies. This is one of the most terrifying hitting units for the AI with the boss on top of experience. Shoot to kill or you're dead. They have incredible attack animations and stats that can be buffed to absurdity. And for a lot of people, Minotaurs was literally the only reason they enjoy this faction, I think. While Minotaurs are a lot of fun, this faction has way more than just Minotaurs. Even just a couple of Minotaurs in the army, it just little destroys. You can get Minotaurs to incredibly high weapon strengths, even easily over 200. And with their attack animations and all the buffs, it just... They literally can charge into anti-large units, and the anti-large unit is going to be routed in a couple of seconds and they're fully buffed. Other than the regular Minotaurs, which are different than the other Minotaurs, these guys are not a staff. They're extra deadly against infantry. You got the shielded ones who are higher armored and shields. A little bit less deadly, but they're still very deadly. And then you have the great weapons, which are probably overall the best, because 28 anti-large will destroy anything really large. Well, if you want to have the most versatile option is the shielded ones. While the great weapons are gonna be the deadliest one against the scariest enemies in the game. And they get 8 attack, 8 defense. Would be even more absurd if it was attack and weapon strength, but defense is amazing as well. And the last battle skill. 8 attack, 12 weapon strength for Chaos Spawn, Giant, Jibber, and Gorgon. And Beastmen along Norska have some of the best battle skills in the game. And some of them are a lot of very similar. Physical resistance, melee attack, melee defense for the Ungors, Gors, and Bestigors. Pretty amazing for Bestigors. Creatures of the Herd, missile resistance, speed, and charge bonus. Harpies don't get a really amazing buff here, but this all helps Harpies as well. Bestial Butchers, missile resistance, attack, and damage. Chaos Spawn, Minotaur, Giant, Jibber, and Gorgon. And they get the range skill on the end, reload, time reduction, 10%, and whip missile strength 12% for these units. This magic resistance better be ward saving Warhammer 3. This is the stuff I'm talking about. This one should pretty much be 8% ward save when it translates later on. Not just spell resistance. Spell resistance can be used for the Cygor, it'll be ward save, and the other guys should get a ward save too. I don't like the idea of having spell resistance on single entities and spell resistance on the veteran battle skills. It should be at least halved to ward save. I'd like to see a veteran skill to give something else than just stats, I don't know, like a passive skill or a silver shield. Well, technology is best for that, Scorn. I think our technologies are supposed to do that. Technology where you upgrade shields on a specific unit or give them an ability. Stuff like this should exist. So you get a roster very aggressive and they get pretty amazing battle skills. Some of them better than the others. Regarding campaign skills, a lot of regular stuff here. Also some decent stuff as well. They got a tier with 2 buffs. 2 buffs. So get actually 2 good ones here and 2 weird ones. Warhammer 1. We'll get the Draft Master probably. More magic item drop chains, more corruption. Only corruption was useful. Opacity. Ambush. Ambush is always good. Intercept, defense chance. And there is the Children of Chaos. While the campaign skills no longer that critical for the Beastman, is still good. They could have done a little bit more here. They could have added like dread stuff, or you know, some other stuff. Campaign skills are usually all over the place, as long as it's not just plain +3, +1 things, I guess it's good. So, there's Kazakh. The most unique thing about the Kazakh is his faction effect and starting location. So if you want to start a Beastman somewhere else in the world, you pick Kazakh. Next we have Malagor, who is basically a legendary Bray Shaman. It's always been a lot of fun because it's a fun spellcaster to use. The most unique thing about him is you start with a Beastman Wizard, and you start in the Badlands, so different start again. Same attributes, has different faction effects. That costs -15% for all hero capacity upgrades, so if this faction will have easier time unlocking more heroes, which is unique. More units, more heroes, more companion movement range, so this faction of the Beast have, you know, the best movement range kappa. And 5 more recruit ranks to the Brave Shamans and Great Brave Shamans, all provinces. So they did a good job regarding the faction effects of the Beastmen. You can see this was the last good thing the Warhammer 2 devs did. And when you got into Warhammer 3, where does people go? I don't know. So unique faction effects on both. He has better beast pet movement, a unique, like Kazakh has better hiding, he has better beast pet. He provides additional penalty to enemy leadership, removes the replenishment, and his Harpist causes fear. Malagor was pretty much good since day one, because his faction effects were the best, and he was a wizard, and had room for shenanigans since the start. But over the years, Malagor just got stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger, and with this rework, he really become incredible. Malagor was always my pick. Even back in the day, Warhammer 1, early Warhammer 2, before they added anything to him. Always my top pick. But to the point where people wanted me to see other guys, so I had to start other guys. I was always picking Malagor as my first choice.
Your hour approaches.
So this one starts in the Badlands. It's gonna be the same in Warhammer 3. March of Madness. So you get a fast flyer. Not really impressed about his stats, but he's a flying wizard from rank 1, which is pretty amazing with a wide range of stuff. As a lore shadow and the beasts, he can fly, increase power charge, some mist resistance. He actually causes additional leadership penalty, and if you get fear and terror on him, he is one of the most effective leadership drops for the enemy. If you check his deep beast pads, you can see he has mega movement, so that's unique to him. And just a wizard that gets stronger as you unlock skills. So get an item here, gives you capacity for a Brave Shaman, and his army can recruit a shaman with a high rank. This has always been one of the worst items in the game. It got bought once, twice, and it still looks like one of the worst items in the games. But since it's a enchanted item and they buffed it so many times, it actually gotten to the point where it's looking a little bit better than before. I mean, more Brave Shaman and cheaper construction and more growth, I guess it's something. The leadership buff is a bit random, looks like White Dwarf's item. Would be cool if it was like map wide early on, but yeah, they remade this item I don't know how many times. Was initially really bad, now at least it looks like something, but as an enchanted item is, I guess, acceptable. Fueled by blood, Beastman stuff, Beastman stuff, Beastman stuff on the top. His unique skills, look at this, immediately another leadership penalty. So Malagor gives -13 he starts causing fear, and his ability gets upgraded, but it causes additional fear effect and removes enemies' immune psychology. So what does this mean? This means when Malagor gets close to a unit, that unit gets minus 21 leadership without being attacked. If you flank with him, it could be as high as over 13 leadership, and the unit is low health, will most likely cause terror. Taking Afterlife, 2 points here for this one. Rather wish it was 1 point, but he's gonna have more points, right? Unholy Power gives Malagor a lot of power. Malagor always had a lot of power. He actually had more power before. Hopefully the power reserves will increase with Warhammer 3. Crowfather gives you access to more harpies. Malagor gets faster and missile resistance. And he's a flyer. Speed and missile resistance is king. Especially on Wizard. Portents of Doom. He gets terror and local enemy province minus 10 public order. One of those shit skills unlocks terror. This has an extra effect, but this extra effect is kind of useless. So this could be the only way he gets terror, but Banner of Madness provides fear and terror with physical resist and Banner of Madness. And Banner of Madness could be using this guy on top of something else. So this is a bad skill. Nightmarish Cabal wins a magic cost -1 for all spells, all characters. All characters, not just Malagor, have cheaper magic. Flat 1. Might not sound much, but once you cast 10 spells, it adds up. Upgrade spells, it adds up even more. Brave Shaman's campaign stuff, not really important. They're kind of good in the army, so hard to put in the campaign map. And there is the Mantle of Crows. Basically has a constant Flock of Doom when he's in melee. You can put Banner of Madness on the top, which will work as his leadership penalty, work better than any other lord. And you can cast Flock of Doom on top of that. Which means everybody's taking 1,000,000 damage around him, and all infantry is just gonna die. Everything just gonna die, and nothing you can do about it. You can get armor defense, and his whole army can get additional armor for these units. Or he can get charge and weapon strength, and all these units get weapon strength instead. But there is more. He has a unique spell tree. He used to have just the Lord Wild. Starting with Flock of Doom. Flock of Doom is amazing. And when you add it up with the Mantle of Crows and the Banner of Madness, it's ridiculous. It's just imagine Mortis Engine, and just imagine there are 3 Mortis Engines in the same place. Philip 4, he starts with it. You could upgrade it, waste of skill points. Pendulum could be used too, but why use Pendulum where you can just use Flock of Doom, Mantle of Crows, Banner of Madness. Doom and Darkness, Doom and Kekwi. It sometimes might be used for Banner of Madness, but if you apply the pressure right, it's properly relevant. All the way up to first Flock of Doom. Cast Flock of Doom once and his sphere effect, and Banner of Madness will do more pressure than Doom and Darkness ever will. So 3 skills are not very useful on him. Mantle of Gorok, it's a really crazy buff for a unit. It has actually proper duration, but it costs 17 power. Could be a little bit worse in Warhammer 3 as well. Unless you really need to kill extra large units, this is not very useful. Because Malagor is gonna also destroy all the infantry units like they're nothing. And there is the Savage Dominion here to summon a Siger. To unlock Great Archon, you do need to unlock 5 of them, and this will increase spell power in Warhammer 3, I think. So you still need to take 5 of them here. There's gonna be Sage Dominion and 2 of these. Really depends. Really depends. I guess Penal Pendulum is a no-brain, and then you pick, close your eyes and pick one of the other 2. Click, click. Yes, and see all this starts in Fumbling 4, or you can upgrade in Fumbling 4. It's not the end of the world. Good for the large units. There are ogres in the game. More power. Lore of the wild passive. Lore of the beast passive. Lore of death passive. Lore of shadow passive. Doom of mankind. On top of upgraded spells. On top of Nightmarish Cabal. Winds of magic cost minus 20% for all spells. So for these guys, you just need to have a couple of units to make sure the counters are large, and he's gonna be dominating every infantry composition, every siege. It's gonna be just a fun slaughter to do. Lords like Malagor make sieges fun. I said it out loud. Sieges fun. While they made sieges worse in Warhammer 3 because they're so repetitive. And they basically kill brain cells after a while. You still have to put some focus into it, not to get punished by the spammable towers. And Malagor will make the repetitive Warhammer 3 sieges, which I'm not sure how they're gonna fix. A little bit more bearable. Pendulum is good as it is even in Warhammer 2, but in Warhammer 3 was a little bit too strong. They nerfed a bit, but still good. The enemy stacks 3 units, you're gonna cast Pendulum. You can cast Pendulum and Flock of Doom at the same time if you have enough power, but if you have a limited power zeros, Flock of Doom beats Pendulum. So you get a really fun wizard, really fun, and his faction, if you decide to start with Malagor, will have access to a lot of heroes and more companion wound range. So we want to start with Malagor, we want to start on another side of the world, you pick him. Effects are good. You gotta start a Wizard Lord and you get a good faction effect. Malagor is lots of fun, always been. Now it's even more. The next one is Morgur. Morgur is now in Estalia. Morgur is the Chaos Spawn flavor, so he has more Chaos Spawn. His armies get more replenishment, there's more corruption. Unless they fix the Chaos Corruption so the AI takes more Chaos Corruption damage like they should, like Standard Attrition and Vampiric Corruption Legendary, this is never gonna be anything. They need to reduce the Chaos Corruption Attrition resistance to the AI by half. And it's it should be at least over 5% in the form, and this guy should do more. Vampiric Corruption works on Legendary, why can't the Chaos Corruption go Legendary? Or building construction cost minus 20% all armies. Since he's a Chaos Corruption flavor, it makes him automatically worse, but he starts in a different spot, Estalia. Now probably gonna be focused on the Wood Elves. Raiding Stance upgrade to the Spoil Raiding Stance, which spreads corruption and attrition. Passive ability, Aura of Violent Transportation, and the whole army gets magic resistance. Immune to utter Lord and Awakened Forest Attrition, Lord's army. Morg will always remain wounded for no more than 1 turn, and Chaos Corruption +5. Unless they make Chaos Corruption more, actually do something. At least you should do for this guy. This guy is just gimped on Legendary, robbed by something they forgot to update for 6 years.
Greetings to you.
So this is the third Lord from the base game. Morgur is pretty tough, but for some reason they gave him really shitty damage. He has some of the worst base damage on any Lords. 300 base, 100 AP. And he's using an Axe. Apparently Axe doesn't have good armor piercing. So you get a really tough Lord that regenerates. Very high missile resistance, but has poor damage. Really poor damage. But his grinder capability is a little bit different. It's not just about weapon strength, there's more. So he regenerates, he got Spirits of Chaos, low health unit will automatically turn to Chaos Spawn once a battle. And Aura of Wild Transmutation. So at the very start, he starts with a Morse engine. So Morgur not having good weapon strength is not really relevant when he is doing damage to enemies all the time. Abilities like this are a lot of fun. Why? Well, devs created these games in a siege fest, and since our hard battles are sieges, abilities like this makes them more tolerable and more fun. It's at least like that for me. Beastmen were always siege fests, and this one will just make the sieges more tolerable if they don't get their shit together with the Mortal Empires. As an item, Stave of Ruinous Corruption, more Chaos Spawn, and then you have some copy pasta here. Chaos Corruption is not relevant, unfortunately. Chaos Corruption should be relevant, should be really dangerous, but they make it trivial. I don't know why. And they give the AI massive resistance. I don't know why, because they tone down all the other AI bonuses. And the Vampiric Corruption actually does something, while the Chaos Corruption doesn't do anything. The Beastman copy pasta on the top, and his unique skills is the whole army gets Primal Fury. The Chaos Spawn is one of the units, it's not only Beastman unit, but doesn't have the Primal Fury. Basically, this is telling you that you should be using units in the army that don't benefit from Primal Fury. Primal Fury is a Beastman version of Frenzy, which will also work with Frenzy. So, makes the Chaos Spawn better because they don't have Primal Fury. Which means any unit that has a Primal Fury or that's a generic Beastman unit, don't even use it with this guy. Abstraction of Zinch. Upgrades Aura of Madness ability for Jibber Slide units with increased damage over time. So Aura of Madness is an ability that causes damage, and this ability will make this ability cause even more damage. That's how you make legendary lord skills. And there is more. Passive ability, Horrible Regeneration for Chaos Spawn unit. So the Chaos Spawn will not only regenerate, but they will also resurrect. Fun. On top of that, there's additional battle skill type skill here. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, literally 3 skills in one. 3 skills in one, and some lords just get terror. Hi Grimgor. Look at this. This is just incredibly fun having skills like this. Makes these units more relevant, makes another type of flavor, and actually makes it fun. So the game is telling you this guy, Senegor's Chaos Spawn and Jabberslide. With potent buffs. And this is gonna add up to all the buffs they get. Then you get Force for Change. Attrition plus 33% casualty suffer from the spoil ratings attrition local enemy armies. Income from rating plus 20%. They forgot a 0 there. So this is the spoil rating. These guys are actually gonna take 7 attrition. Situational, counterintuitive. This is like not gonna be able to do it. You're going to go click, 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 click. And you're actually not going to try to rely on stuff like this. It's just random. The Chaos Corruption, on the other hand, put this guy from 120 to 118, with this guy maybe to 116. So nothing special in this skill. Luckily, you only 2 here. Herald of Corruption. Campaign movement range plus 15%. Damn. It's nice. Only for 1 skill point. And then he has a skill here that has 3 skills. Gives powerful blessing ancillaries that can modify your units. Why they list all this shit here? Why can't they list shit here? I guess, you know, getting proper tooltips is too advanced for a small indie company. So you don't know what you get, but according to developers, it's powerful. This is powerful. This is some random shit. Touch of Corruption. Enables Touch of Corruption counting effect damage over time. Oh boy. So Morgur units die next to him. And when Morgur touches them, they die even faster. And when there is a Jabber Slide nearby, they die even faster. And when there is a Banner of Madness nearby, they die even faster. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 damaging effects. 4. And they can all be in the same area. 4 damaging effects. And one of those damaging effects is apparently, according to text, stronger than usual. So, you like those, what I call Affliction Warlocks in World of Warcraft? Well, he's the Affliction Warlock in World of Warcraft. Everything just dies around him. Attack weapon strength, strength for the army, same as Khazrak, and same as Khazrak here as well. He's a fighter, he's not a wizard, but he has a very nice flavor. They've done Morgur justice with this rework. QQ Orion. The only thing that's issue with this faction, it's not really issue with this faction, it's issue with Chaos Corruption. Chaos Corruption should be better, and Chaos Corruption attrition should be relevant. That's the only, I think, issue with this faction. And now we got the most balanced lord and faction in the entire Warhammer 2. Taurox, the Brass Bull with the Slaughterhorn tribe. The most powerful faction in entire Warhammer 2. I don't think that's gonna change in Warhammer 3. Strange, the last update, they left it so powerful and they forgot to release a balance patch. Apparently they balanced it, but what did they balance? I don't know. He starts in Nagrod. And this guy has one of the most fun, most powerful abilities in the entire game. And if you have more than a few brain cells, this ability is so good, you're not going to like it because it's going to look too easy. So on top of all the Beastman mechanics, he doesn't have this generic stuff regarding faction effects. Well, this one here and here are pretty good. This one a little bit better. This one here is kind of crap. And this one is unique because it adds a complete unique mechanic because it's a new lord. And also decreases the cost of dread on the Minotaurs shields, and the Minotaurs get weapon. Not only that, they make this guy the most powerful lord, most powerful faction, and also the unit that was used the most with Minotaurs. Sell, 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 buy, 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 right? Anybody who played Minotaurs probably bought this without even thinking, right? Maintaining momentum from successive battle victories earns Taurox rewards and bonuses. So, pretty straightforward Minotaur flavor and rampage mechanic. So, no generic stuff like the other guys. Generic. Unique mechanic instead. Lord effects, Taurox leaves 0 blood effects in regions of winning battles. So every time he wins a battle, there's a thing that lives in the region. His army has more damage than Minotaurs, and he gets an ability here. I don't know what I say here. He starts with a high tier unit and Minotaurs of the shields. What was a victory screen record with him? I don't know, I didn't track anything. I think my fastest campaign was Grom. So without going into much detail regarding his rampage, you fight battles, you fill the meter, you fill the rampage, use currency, you get currency for doing battles, and basically, you know how Tic-Tac-Toe has a ability that has a very long cooldown? He can reset movement and then do his turn again. Well, this guy can go from here all the way into Lastria in the same turn. And if the setup is right, he can probably destroy all of Lastria on the same turn. And yeah. What the hell is more powerful than this in the entire game? As his rampage, as momentum, various rampage buffs, which makes the all other Beastman factions absolutely trivial, dog shit looking. So unless you want to start on another side of the map, who cares? But Taurox will unlock Dread faster than any other faction. Click Gain Lord, click Gain Lord, click Gain Lord, and all of a sudden you have all the Beastman factions, and you have Taurox's powerful mechanic, which is ridiculous. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say about the Rampage. You can literally destroy a whole continent in a course of a few turns, even in one turn under ideal conditions. Lord itself, it's kinda like they taken Colic, and instead of you need to build Colic to be a god, you get a god on rank 1. Ridiculous base stats. Health, armor, leadership, speed, attack, defense, damage. It's like the whole combination is absolutely ridiculous. And this being on a Minotaur Lord, it's rank 1. Anybody can use this guy to slaughter several units. On top of that, apparently massive health and massive armor is not enough. He gets also missile resistance. You know, he needs some more missile resistance. He's a siege attacker, causes fear. He's a Minotaur Lord, God legendary. What's him called? Legendary. What they called? Doom Bull. And he is a one-man army and one bull army, my bad, that just destroys everything, and it has Minotaur buffs. Has the Blood Grid, as the other Minotaurs. Starts with Soldier Skull. So he already gets additional 10 attack, 8 leadership. And when he's in melee, he can charge the Blood Grid, which grants him a type of frenzy. And he gets explosion, Blood Beast. So incredibly powerful fighter with the strongest mechanic in the game, and you can acquire all the other Beastman Lords within a few turns or 20 turn stops and play all the factions under him. This is his weapon, attack, damage, magical attacks, and another good buff. This is actually pretty basic, but this is how the weapons should look like. Attack, damage, magical attacks if you don't have it, and an ability. Some can be above and beyond, or some can be just simple as this, and they work. Got the usual Beastman stuff on top. This is the unique to the Gorbulls, Minotaurs. His unique skills are Favored of the Skull Throne. So the whole army gets magic resistance, which is going to be now spell resist, much weaker. This could be 5% ward save for the whole army, or 8 in the Warhammer 3, but that's some ridiculous. I think they can leave this one on spell resist. Gets an ability that makes him incredibly tough, and weakens the local wizards. Juggernaut. It gets 20% charge bonus, because, you know, he needs charge bonus. Daze and weapon strength is nice, so you're gonna pick this one up. Daze is a debuff. Lowers defense and speed. Drench in Blood. Bestial Rage +1 for the whole army. So you fill this meter to get even more buffs. And you get additional stack of River Blood for winning battles. River Blood is a stackable effect for him on the zone. It's nothing really that special, but you know, just another like, you know, like flavor thing. You're not gonna stay in that region for long, if you know what I mean. Titans of the Deep Forest gives a capacity for a Gorgon and makes the Gorgons, Giants, Jibber, Slides, and Sigurs have 10 more armor. A little bit boring, but sure. And then there is one of his better skills, Gore Fist. So every unit in his army gets Gore Fist instead of Blood Grid on the cows. This will cause them after a certain time to regenerate on top of the Circle of Frenzy. So Blood Grid becomes regenerate when they are enough in battle. And Taurox himself gets strong regeneration. You can pick on rank 12 and gets rank 12 in no time. And the last one is Demonic Vigor. He gets perfect vigor and lower cooldown on the Blood Beast and Brass Body and the Rune Tortured Axis. All his abilities get lower cooldown. That's cool on top of perfect vigor. On his other skills, you can pick melee defense, ward save, and defense for the whole army. Attack, terror for him, and attack for the Minotaurs. While this one is a little bit weaker because this is a ward save. Ward save is always a pick. He's all incredibly strong that really doesn't matter which one you pick. This attack value doesn't do anything for him, and terror is not really relevant for him either. Not really. He gets so many attack buffs that this one is kind of overkill. Well, this one is useful, especially making one-man army. And Minotaurs getting a little bit more melee defense might lower casualties. Minotaurs are always super deadly, so getting 5 attack or 5 defense doesn't really matter. Well, 5 attack is better than the base Minotaurs. 5 defense is better overall. He gets the fighter line, and pretty much that's it. You get an incredibly powerful lord with the strongest mechanic in the game. This guy can sometimes do 20 turns in a single turn. If the situation is ideal, even more. And we'll save the best for last. The worst DLC in the entire Warhammer series. Warhammer 1 pre-purchase bonus and day 1 DLC. Warriors of Chaos. Because, you know, nobody would buy Total War Warhammer unless they cut the content out of the game and they sold it as DLC. And that was the Warriors of Chaos. Bear Hezbollah faction that they never really planned to do anything about until the third game. We got Archaon the Ever-Chosen. This guy is supposed to be the most powerful, one of the most powerful characters in the Warhammer universe. And I really hope they do him justice in Warhammer 3. I find Archaon a really cool character, and he's also one of the strongest characters already. And I think he should be the strongest one in the entire game. That's what I feel. The faction of the Warriors of Chaos is complete bare bones. That's why it's the worst DLC. The Chaos Corruption sucks, and you play a half-assed Horde faction in a game where it's a massive world. Everybody's against you, and anybody gets ruins sorted. So you don't have a mechanic like the Beastmen, where you can take territories and prevent them from being resettable. Instead, you have to play a whack-a-mole, especially if you try to destroy a world. We did a campaign where we destroyed the whole world with Wars of Chaos during their worst time. And for 100 turns, you basically just run in circles, raising the settlements that just constantly getting resettled until you get enough armies. They can just click raise extra every turn. A siege-fast horde faction that's been half-assed and never really improved to any of the Warhammer 2 standards. And now they're getting a DLC, the first DLC in Warhammer 3, and also the first rework at the same time. Saying that this faction has fun lords, very powerful lords, and some really powerful and fun units, like the Chosen, Dragon Ogre Shagot, or the Hell Cannon, to name a few. Kolic was one of the strongest lords in the game for the longest time. Got nerfed over the years, so he can still do great things, but he's no longer what he used to be. Sigvald has never been really put his glory like he should, while the Arcane has been buffed literally every update, while his sword has still, still remained shit. I like Warriors of Chaos, and I don't know for what reason, but I feel like regarding this being, my main game, and I like to replay it, I feel like playing Chaos every now and then is amazing for the replay value. But when a faction gets to a shit point like this, it was not really fun to replay them anymore. So I hope they got a really fun rework, and they make them, what they're supposed to be, and not just something half-assed botched job. So Warriors of Chaos have incredible quality. Their mechanics are non-existent. The Chaos Corruption sucks, but they have some of the highest quality infantry and other units in the game. But that is not good enough. Their lords are also supposed to be also above the rest, while Archaeon might be, and Kolic gets eventually. Sigvald has never really been got to that point. While they were buffing characters like Tyrion, even after Warhammer 2 released, even Vlad got AP, they never really did it for Sigvald for some reason. And he's supposed to be pretty amazing, Salvation just doesn't take anybody. You don't just be perfect, looking, you have to be also excel at something, right? In Warhammer 3, Sigvald Magnificent will be here, get his own faction. Archaeon gets here. This kind of feel like I have to say, out of all positions of the map, this feels like the most attractive position. I don't know why. Doesn't this feel like one of the best spots on the map? This looks like at the end of the world. There might be a city there, and then you just go south. Depending what kind of mechanics they get, will they be able to sell like Demons of Chaos, or they're gonna be still a horde? Who knows? But they start longer. They're no longer a Chaos Invasion. But looks like an incredible spot for Warriors of Chaos, for the Arcane. Faction is called different now. Chaos will now not only be reworked, but they will also get additional lords called the Champions of Chaos. So you will have Archaeon, you'll have Sigvald, you'll have Kolic, the original 3, and then you will get Valkia, you will get Be'lakor, you will get Pestus, Village, and who am I forgetting here? Was it Azazel? Azazel is here. You can see there's a lot of Chaos Lords now. They've shown some of the things regarding the rework, but it's pretty just bare bones in the video. How it's going to work, who knows? And hopefully the old lords did then done them justice, cause I want Archaeon to be the most incredible lord in the game, if not the most powerful one. It was always been fun to play, even with his shit faction. while Sigvald was there for the memes, and Kolek was just incredibly powerful one-man army. So right now, how it looks like, I hope they keep Archaon's ability here. I think this is all gonna be relevant. This is gonna all be reworked. Awaken the tribes, I don't know. Are they gonna keep some kind of vassal system? Maybe they rework it. Chaos corruption, oh man. Creeping insidious ruin that can be spread within enemy territory, leading to public order issues and chaos rebellions. Chaos corruption causing brain damage is day 1 on Warhammer 1. And a powerful unit roster, I guess it's not far from that. So, hopefully they do just chaos corruption and they do something else about this, because if they just keep awakening the tribes without taking some settlements and having some more ways to control these guys, with not just them just getting poof, 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 poof. I don't know. Vassals for the chaos make sense, but they should be a player control mechanic. They should still exist as vassals, but you should have a larger say about them and more control over it, and not just some lazy vassal system that needs a complete rework. So regarding Archaon, we'll talk more about Archaon in the game, but his faction effect used to be one of the worst in the game. You can see Trash on the second line and you can see Trash on the third line. But units gain +3 weapon and missile strength per rank achieved. I think this is one of the most incredible things they added in Warhammer 2. And not only the Chaos gets stronger as they get more powerful, it fits for the Chaos guys to, you know, gain strength as they grow. I wish Orc War Boss would gain this. I wish Grimir would gain this. If anybody should have a way to achieve something really scary and powerful, it should be the Chaos guys. And Orc War Bosses should get something similar to this, if you ask me. So his faction will have the highest weapon strength units of all the Chaos, and hopefully this is still true. This is very strong and I think fun, if a little bit boring to some effect, instead of getting a mechanic or something else. They're getting reworks, so they're getting mechanics right. This means that other than big leadership buff, big attack buff, big defense buff, reload time reduction buff, the units can gain up to additional 27% damage. That is a lot of damage on already some really high quality units. That is a lot of damage. And I hope this remains Archaon's thing with his new faction. Well, this has been some of the worst stuff in the game. Archaon's Lord effect is 5% wards for the whole army. It's always good. And income from resist elements plus 50%. I'm not sure how this is going to work in Warhammer 3, but wards for the whole army is very nice. Let's go into the game. Archaon is one of those lords that is supposed to be amazing warrior and amazing wizard, if not one of the best. Because he's been granted chaos artifacts, which pretty much he's been blessed by all the chaos gods, right? And who can compete with that? He has seal of approval from all the chaos gods, and he gets artifacts pretty much from all the gods. And he's supposed to be the most powerful character in the lore as well, or one of them. And in the game, I think since the start, and now I think it's only fair to keep him the most powerful character in the series.
You are the ever-chosen.
There'll be a reckoning.
So you can see immediately here, very potent stats, high health, high armor, everything high except his speed. So his only issue right now is his speed. Otherwise, incredible stats. 5% ward save, 10 physical resistance, 50 missile resistance, on top of incredible durability. If that is not enough, he has 68 attack and he gets frenzy. So gets 78 attack and gets over 500 weapon strength. And if that is not enough, he gets Lord of Fire. So a destructive wizard with incredible stats. That's what the Archaon is supposed to be. His skill tree has always been massive, not fit for Warhammer 1, barely fit for Warhammer 2. Most likely gonna be just fine in Warhammer 3. His items, Slayer of Kings, or brain damage. Brain damage. God damn, this is gonna be the first thing I check. The first thing I check when I turn on Warhammer 3 Immortal Empires beta. I'm gonna go to Warriors of Chaos faction, I'm gonna find Archaon, I'm gonna start campaign, and I'm gonna check the Slayer King stats. And I might get a drink. Alcoholic one. Like, what the fuck is this shit? It's supposed to be one of the most powerful weapons. The most powerful weapons. And it's weaker than some green items. I kid you fucking not, this is weaker than an Ogre Blade. This is designed by the same people who work on Warhammer 3 apparently, because magical attacks, by the way, has magical attacks. Chaos Corruption, shit. Recruitment cost, really. Post-battle loot, really. And that gets an ability that only lasts 25 seconds with a 2-minute cooldown. Well, the ability does sounds like it does a lot. Trust me, this is nothing. I have used this ability in the past, and Archaon would miss 3 times. And that's it, end of ability. Or he will get stuck in the crowd and not even seeing Sphinx's sword. So this kind of abilities are wasted. If this Slayer King's ability is like 60 seconds, better than a green item. But they're still not as good as blue items. This is the Slayer of Kings, and listen to this. The second ever chosen Vangel trapped the greater demon Uzul inside his regicidal blade. A greater demon is inside this weapon. Doesn't even buff any damage. If they wanna make this a downside, let them give him a rampage, but holy fuck, man, if this is not one of the most powerful items in Warhammer 3 Immortal Empires, okay, in beta, I'll give them, okay guys, okay, I need to be fair, okay, Immortal Empires beta, what did that guy said, hold on, YouTube, one moment, clear the loot history, yep, clear that. Total War. Total War, yep. Clear that. Devs, where the devs at? Q&A.
Hi everyone, I'm Richard Aldridge. I'm the
Okay, what did he
director
say?
of,
What did he say?
New content team. Your questions, thoughts?
Why did you decide to release Immortal Empires as a beta? Okay, let's just comment on this.
Immortal Empires is our kind of grand vision.
Grand vision, okay.
So, last few years has to actually be Hammer 3. Offer some little missteps, shall we?
Okay, here we go.
Warhammer 3. So, again, why we're calling it a beta is because we need to allow for some little missteps, shall we say? You know, we're doing like a lighting pass on.
Lightning pass, huh?
We're going to be rebalancing all the units with their stats.
So, missteps, guys. Missteps. Okay. So, day one, this weapon might be the same. And that might be turned into alcoholic for a couple of days. Should I even look at it? But by the end of the fucking beta, in all their missteps, if this is not one of the most powerful weapons in the game, like it doesn't have to be sort of Kane, but it could be something close with a rampage. I don't know, man. I don't know where the priorities lie. It's copy pasta. You know it's not changing the beta afterwards. Fuck off, Marconis. This better change. This shit should have like ridiculous stats. Better change. Like, what the fuck is this shit? Slayer of Kings, Galmaraz, Gitsnik, Axe of Dargo, Axe of Grimnir, a couple more, like, what the fuck? This is Archaon, not some fucking lore they created out of thin air or added into the game. Because this guy has not been released as a DLC 3 years later, he gets a shit weapon. I mean, look at this. This is like, guys, if you don't see this, if you don't see how bad this item it is, I'm envious, guys. Because nothing bothers me more than the fucking Slayer of Kings and the Warriors of Chaos. Fucking hell, I destroy the whole world again and play this shit half-assed botched faction. But fucking hell, what the fuck is this? He has ridiculous attack useless. Magical attacks, he has magical attacks. Corruption is useless. Recruitment cost, what? Stop with the recruitment costs. Post-battle loot and affection is ridiculous battle loot from battles. And you get ability that basically barely gets up. And then gets flushed again. This gotta be one of the worst shit they've done. And they've done it to Archaon the Ever-Chosen. It's just unbelievable. They just kept buffing Archaon and they keep this shit. Slayer of Kings. Nothing gets him more than the text, guys. The second ever chosen Vangel trapped the greater demon Uzul inside his regicidal blade. They even put the text on it and they give it a lazy copy paste. I hope that guy gets fired and never gets to work at any weapon ever again. How many weapons he created in Warhammer 3? Fucking lazy copy paste all of them. Like, I'm looking at the Slayer of Kings and you know what I'm getting? I'm getting images. I'm getting images of Grisus gold-tooth weapon. So lazy. It's like, it's not, they don't even put any thought into it. It's uninspiring, uninteresting, and it's just copy-pasting between the items. So sad. This better change. You know, it's beta, guys. We have to give them a bit. You know, it's beta. You know, we have the old gray guy that mentions the missteps. We got a guy in the background, and we got a young guy that says "never say again" all the time. So they got 3 guys working at Immortal Empires. They're gonna charge hundreds and hundreds of dollars on it. It looks like they didn't even get a proper team. So we have to give them at least until the end of the beta to fix this shit. I'm sure one of them YouTubers, you know, they're all gonna get some pull with the CA. They're gonna mention the Slayer of Kings being shit. And they're useless at the campaigns. They promote multiplayer. They might as well just buff for some of these weapons at least. Armor Morkar. Because, you know, Lord with 120 armor needs more armor, more defense, and 10% ward save. You know, I'm having a serious deja vu here. It's like another copy pasta here. I think identical to one of the other items in the game. But it's 10% ward save, so I really can't complain that much about it. Eye of Shirian. 25% ward save on this one. They better not touch this shit. I swear to God, if they change this shit and they don't change the Slayer of Kings, they better not touch this one. It's the only good item he has. The only good item. Do not fucking touch this one. Garbage. Copy paste. Acceptable. Amazing. And a bunch of copy paste. Better not touch this one. Imagine, guys, they keep the Slayer King like this, and they change the Eye of Shirian. Named after the Zinchian sorcerer who discovered the eye sees nearly all. Its current owner should make use of its prophetic powers. ... Oh man, Zinch is now in the game. Makes me worried about this item. Don't touch this shit! Do not touch this shit! This! Touch this! And then we got a Crown Domination. It's enchanted items, we can't really ask for much. But yeah, it's Archaon, guys. Archaeon better be fucking amazing. Over the top. If Archaeon should not be over the top, nobody should be over the top. This guy should be just in the clouds, and there should be clouds above the clouds, and above these clouds should be another set of clouds, the red clouds, and there where Archaeon stats should be. So you get a bunch of shit here. I think this item is also aged badly. But for enchanted item, you know, it's an enchanted item. Like, I don't know, crown domination effect, like what the fuck is that shit? 4 leadership in psychology? Let me see my generic unit here. 75 leadership, yeah, they're definitely 4 leadership. And there is Dorgar. Dorgar who needs to get bigger. Apparently they made the Dorgar large and they made the Chaos Steeds larger. It's his horse. The Swords of Chaos. Charge bonus plus 9% for Chaos Knights units in Lord's army. Well, I hope this skill is no longer in the game. And this skill is called Lord of the End Times. Leadership aura size plus 100%. Because, you know, if this is not enough, you got that blue circle doubled. It's called Lord of the End Times. And yeah, we get this. Chosen of the Gods. At least this is pretty good for 1 skill point. You got melee defense, hit points, weapon strength. He already has absurd stats, so a little bit more overkill. Hearts of Iron. Vigor loss reduction 0% for the whole army and some miss resistance here. The Grand Marshal of Chaos. This one is in Warhammer 1, boys. Still needs an update for Warhammer 2 and 3. Abyss Forged Armor. Upkeep reduction for Chaos Warriors and low recruitment cost for Chaos Warriors in the army. Because, you know, if your faction effect is not enough, 30%, you need to get it to 50. Fortunately, this requires all 4, and hopefully it will not require all 4 in Warhammer 3. So, another poop skill, because Chosen exists. It's probably going to be a little bit different now, since there's an upgrade system. But this boat would crap in the original. The Chosen ones, 12 physical resistance and 8 defense for the Chaos Chosen. That is overkill. That is absurd. Makes the Chaos Chosen already insane, even without getting anything else. Chosen have incredible stats. They're gonna be hard to get in Warhammer 3, but I'm looking forward to see the system. So the first good skill here. Knights of the Herald. 15% weapon strength and 50% speed for the Chaos Knights. It's pretty incredible. Chaos Knights have been overbuffed to like to one of the best cavalries. And if anybody should have very strong Chaos Knights, it's Archaeon. And now with all the changes with Warhammer 3, the Chaos Knights are actually even scarier. And the fact the whole army gets additional 15 weapon damage and 15 speed. And this is on top of his up to 27% additional damage on experience. The Chaos Knights will have bonkers damage for him if this remains. Distinguished Champions. Hero capacity for Exalt Hero and recruit rank plus 4 for Exalt Hero's Lord's Army. Don't get me wrong, guys. Gets 2 incredible skills, but a lot of this feels like it's still stuck in Warhammer 1. Ascension to Demonhood. He gets 15 power, 10 physical resist, and 2 chaos corruption. I think this one should be definitely a change of all of this, because, you know, there are now demon princes and demons in Warhammer 3, and they got an opportunity to do something special about this one. Hopefully they deliver. They are, after all, making a rework of a first DLC, and they are charging good money for a new DLC that's supposed to, you know, add more stuff to the Chaos and not just rework them. He has a fighter skill tree, which I kid you fucking not, has leadership on it. This guy has 85 base leadership, possibly the most terrifying guy in the world, and he has additional leadership here. Who thought this copy pasta would be a good thing? Indomitable for Arcane should be like Ward Save or some shit. And what the fuck is this? Weapon strength plus 10% when attacking. 1 point. And then you get 10% all time for 1 point here. Hopefully this guy will work too. Other than his fighter's skill tree, which is kind of overkill for him, he doesn't have enough points. You do get Lord of Fire, which is pretty damn good. So there's that as a diviner at the end. I don't know about that. I want to see some Great Archconduit. Having 50 ranks in Warhammer 3 Arcane will be better than ever. And I hope they give him a lot of love with the rework. God damn, man, I have a feeling they didn't do shit on the top. I'm seeing weird emotes in the chat, and the chat has some spoilers and shit. They know. It's enough to just put a pepper laugh, you know, to doubt they've done shit about this. So, come to battle skills. The first battle skill is Chaos Vanguard. Chaos Marauders, Aspiring Champions, and Forsaken. Well, I don't like this skill. I hope it gets reworked, especially now with the reworked recruitment. I think all the infantry should be in the same skill, starting with Chaos Marauders and ending with Aspiring Champions, with Chaos Warriors in the Chosen in the middle. Forsaken could be on another battle skill. Savage Bloodlust, 8 attack, 12 charge for the Marauder Horsemen, Marauder Horse Masters, Chaos Warhounds, and Chaos Feral Manticore. Marauder Horse Masters and Horsemen are range units. And there's nothing range about this skill. Blazed by Chaos, 12% weapon strength and 8 defense for the Chaos Warriors, Chaos Spawn, and Chosen. Blazed by Chaos, and there's a Chaos Spawn on this skill. I think a lot of this needs to be reworked for the Warhammer 3. I don't think we're gonna see any of this shit in Warhammer 3. Hammer into Anvil, 8 attack, 12 charge bonus for the Dragon Ogres, Chaos Knights, Gorbish Chariot, and the Chaos Chariot units. Pretty good one. Rather wish that charge bonus was damage, but you know, can't have everything. Monster Strength, 12 weapon strength, 8 attack. This is perfect. Damage and attack. For Dragon Ogre Shagot, Chaos Trolls, and the Chaos Giant units. And then you have the Doomfire, Hell Cannon, Ammunition, and Missile Strength. They forgot about range damage for the Marauder Horsemen and Marauder Horse Masters. Weather ones, Legion of Doom, Weapon Strength, Melee Attack, Magic Resistance. Magic Resistance that better be Ward Save in the Warhammer 3. I don't want to see no spell resist in these units, please. But attack damage alone is already good. But I think it's just gonna be transient spell resist the lazy way. Speed and Malice, missile resistance, speed and charge for the fast units, including Chaos Knights. Friction Mutations, physical resistance, weapon strength, attack, Chaos Trolls, Chaos Spawn, Chaos Giant, Dragon Ogre Shagot. This is a pretty good one. The Trolls and the Dragon Ogre Shagot get some of the best stuff. So they're Dragon Ogres here, but they're not here. This is so off to me. Guided by Zinch. Hell Cannon, Marauder Horsemen, Marauder Horse Masters get real-time reduction, ammunition, missile strength. So range units which need to perform to get rank 7 get range buffs, but on the skill that makes them perform better, they don't get shit. So it's gonna be hard for these units to get rank 7 to actually get range buffs, because there's no range buffs for them here to perform. Okay. And stand right at the end. I hope we see half of this reworked for the Warhammer 3. And they do them a bit better, especially because of the new system they introduced with the recruitment and upgrades. Route Marcher, the spoilers, 2-in-1, Zero Die, Growth, Ruination. Generic stuff here, generic Warhammer 1 stuff here, Lightning Strike, place that 2-in-1 here, 2 here, 2 here, and Corruption. This is what gets me, guys. Last campaign skill, Corruption. Meanwhile, go on the greenskins or the high elves, renowned and feared. And they put +4 Corruption here as the last skill, like it does something. Like it does fucking something.
What?
Port system is pretty bad as bones. This is basically what they had for 6 years. And you had to buy this shit. This was a DLC. In my opinion, the worst DLC. Because how they done about it. And they clearly planned it to be a Warhammer 3 faction, but they still put a bare bones faction before that. Oh, that was Archaean. I think everything about this faction is gonna get reworked. It took only 6 years, but we're getting it. You know when you start a faction, and let me show you something, guys. This is one of the worst factions they put in the game. Chaos. Faction effects +4 corruption, recruitment cost -60% for dragon ogre units, ambush to defense chance -20%. This, along with the Lord Mazdamundi, one of the worst faction effects in the game. And then the Lord has a lower up on dragon ogre units and more attack for dragon ogre Shoggoth units. While the Lord is pretty awesome, his faction is really nothing special. But I want to show you something, guys. This is Lord Mazdamundi. I just want to show you something. This is Lizard Man. It's a Warhammer 2 faction. Just want to show you something for, you know, so you get the full picture. Not just take my word for it. This faction has 7 lords and like what, 3 DLCs. 3 you had to pay, 1 was free. And let me show you something.
Blessing.
Look at the top screen. Treasury and income. There's nothing else. The faction. Lizardman. Look at this. Treasury, income. It's so nice and clean. There's nothing out there. How has this managed to, you know, go 5 years, end of Warhammer 2, and this is what you get. Lord Mazdamundi, Hexoatl, top of the screen, treasury and income, there's nothing else. That's it. The guy was, oh man, I got the easiest job ever with this faction. I just have to put some little bit here, click, click, and job done. Don't have to put any nice lines like marks of ruination or walls of text. Just 2 numbers. Action done. And then you have some of the shittiest DLC released in the entire series.
Herald of the Tempest.
And what you look at the top screen, same as Lizardman, same as Lord Mazamundi. Treasury and how much you make per turn. Talked about the Lizardman. If you missed it as a VOD on Twitch or on YouTube, there's actually 2 of them, but we did the same thing for the Lizardman as well.
You have slumped.
You know how you know you're playing a shit-ass vanilla faction that got half-assed? Look at the top screen. That's it. Look at the top screen and this tells you everything. So this is Kolik. Kolik is an incredibly powerful fighter. He's some of the strongest base stats in the game. Over the years he got nerfed and there's power creep in the game, so he got a little bit weaker. But he's still incredibly powerful as a fighter, and I think fun his own way. So get the big stats, big ass monster. One thing I want to see Kolik. I want to see Kolik grow larger. Well, some kind of mechanic, or just larger immediately, because there's a dread sword in the game. Kolik's supposed to be massive, really big, but we got this, and they add dread sword in the game, which makes Kolik small. I don't like it. So this is Kolik's weapon, Star Crusher. Gives him 50 AP, 6 in attack, 12 weapon strength, gives him magical attacks, replenishment, and ability. How the fuck they fix the Star Crusher, but they leave the Slayer of Kings? This is not the original Star Crusher. Although Slayer of King is still original shit. They just added that ability change. Look at this, 43 seconds. 43 seconds ability and actually decent weapon. Not only it has 12 weapon strength, but additional 50 flat AP damage. So they've done Kolik's weapon justice at least. And a Lord of the Storm, bombardment ability. Storm Rage, this used to be 25% ward save, which made Kolik the most insane Lord in the game. With 15 he'll take more damage, but it's still a very good skill. The things that give ward save got really nerfed over the years, like Storm Rage, like Zinch Banner, like the various armor, talismans and other stuff. Kolik used to be the absolutely strongest Lord in the game, but over the years he's weakened because of all the balancing they did. They didn't even want, you know, easily, you know, game breakable one-man armies like that. Hearts of Iron, we get lost seduction, and usually call pasta here. His unique skills are this: leadership +4 when laying siege Lord's army, enemy siege hold time -2. It's a fucking Kolik. Just delete this skill, put in the recycle bin, and put any other text on it, please. Enemy siege holdout time -2, or you start with a siege attacker. The guy's supposed to be more bigger than the walls. Toughened skin, 20 armor, 50 magic resistance. Well, that's a place where they can put ward save again. At least undo some of the nerf from the Storm Rage. This should be a ward save instead of magic resistance, because it's gonna be shit in Warhammer 3 if they just put like that. Giant Killer, Damage and anti-large. Shield does incredible damage and has 28 anti-large. Nothing really special for a Legendary Lord skill. Then you get a Seismic Shock. The whole army gets buff for the Dragon Ogres and Dragon Ogre Gods. 15 weapon strength and 10 charge bonus. Well, damage is fine, Dragon Ogre's charge is fine, Dragon Ogre God charge, who cares. Unearthly and Anomalous. So, for 1 point he gets 8% replenishment, 8% campaign movement range. And then the last one grants 2 Chaos Corruption and Frenzy. This is so stuck in Warhammer 1, guys. Crap is going to be crap, is average. I guess it's okay for Colic's flavor. Not good enough. And what the fuck is this? Unless the Chaos Corruption does something, don't even show me Chaos Corruption anything. Then just Frenzy here. It's called the Sun Eater. Whenever the sky darkens with cloud and thunder rumbles on the horizon, all who know of the legend of the Sun Eater shiver in fear. What the fuck is this flavor text? What the hell is this ability here? Well, the Frenzy is good for Colic, like this shit is clearly outdated. Frenzy for just Colic, and he's already overkill there. So you get an overkill fighter that has potential to be, you know, a one-man army. Not as good as he's used to be, but a real army with any units will win any battle faster, without even making Colic very strong. So it tends to be very uninspiring and boring after all these years of Warhammer 2. Colic is getting his own faction, and I hope they do him justice, cause this has aged like shit. Can't even clean it anymore. You just have to burn it and buy the new stuff, create a new faction from scratch. And the last lord,
For chaos.
Prince Sigvald the Magnificent. They tried to do something different with this guy towards the end, but the stuff just wasn't in the game.
I am Slanesh's scion.
Other than this beautiful man and amazing starting units, you get a really shitty faction effect. And he used to be the best one. Archeon got the best one later. Because you could just create all of them. Now they're gonna be separate factions. I hear Sigvald is getting a seduction mechanic, which is very strong. That alone is gonna make him fun to play. Marauders are way better in Warhammer 3. They're garbage in Warhammer 2. Unless they are the Norse Marauders. So this is all crap here. So listen to this. Marauder units gain the Rage passive ability, which further upgrades to Berserk at rank 7 and above. At rank 7 and above. Because some of the shittiest, the worst units in the game will get to rank 7. Take this nature. This Lord effect, Horgor plus 3 Lord's Army. Upkeep minus 60% for Chaos Marauder units in the Lord's Army, and Attribute Strider for the whole army. Well, other than complaining about these guys, will be full of hopium and say the Decadent Host is looking good. I definitely have one of the best looking models that I've seen of all Warhammer 3. There are going to be 4 Slaneshi factions in the game. Sigvald, Azazel, Nakari, and Murati.
Your adopted father calls you, Sigvald.
I am Slanesh's scion.
So he has a very strong base stats, but for some reason they never gave him armor piercing. But at least they gave him perfect vigor towards the end. So pretty awesome base stats. But every lord that was like this got armor piercing, but not Sigvald. He's supposed to be a duelist, but in some ways he can really deal proper damage. He has the same speed as a Vampire. Is it me, or he has some of the highest leadership of any lord in the game? He has the highest leadership of any lord that's not unbreakable in the game, right? We had 100 leadership, but he's not unbreakable. And once you get his armor, he will not die. As an awesome armor. Very strong armor that grants strong regeneration. This is his weapon. Well, he at least doesn't have magical attacks. So much koi pasta. It is said Prince Sigvald's ornate sword is forged from a sliver of Slaanesh' own blade. More like from a sliver of a CA lunch poop from the dev. They're just copy-pasting these effects all over the place. Auric armor, at least, is incredible stuff. Gives him good defense and regeneration, which makes Sigvald really tough to deal with. Favorite son, 12 attack on 1 point. Marked by Slaanesh. Character, aura, leadership effect +5. Enabled charmed attacks. Charmed attacks lower the attack of anybody getting hit. Hearts of Iron, vigor for the army. Koi pasta. Egomaniacal. Upkeep +25% for Chaos Lord and Chaos Source Lord or armies faction wide. And 5 leadership for the whole army. So this guy's first Legend Lord skill is actually a penalty. Not that he got something, but it's actually a penalty. Then it's self-obsessed, because his stats are not good enough, so he has to get another 6 defense and 6 attack, and he has a fighter skill tree, which is aged like milk, very poor. At least stylish is pretty cool. 8 armor and 6 defense for the whole army. That's pretty damn good. One of the only good things about him. Driven by lust, lower upkeep for the army, increase the income from raising settlements and post-battle loot. This one's a pretty good one. Born to serve. All heroes have a higher chance to succeed and higher and cheaper action costs. This is pretty good as well. Might even be better in Warhammer 3. And then you get Fear and Terror. Because, you know, Terror on a final skill is used to be like a you know, really good in Warhammer 1. But this shit is aged poorly in Warhammer 2 and 3. And you got a bunch of fighter stats. You can have really incredible stats, but if he's not doing armor piercing damage, he's never gonna be really strong. All his stats are overkill. And that's it. Pretty much that's it. What am I gonna do with his mirror guard? Well, most of his damage is not AP. Like 2/3 is base damage. Well, he does have very high damage. For some reason, they kept a very high damage on him. They didn't give him the AP. I'd rather have this on 420, which most of its AP, than 520. It does look like a lot. It does look like a lot, but you cut base damage by 200 and make 100 more AP, and that's better. Way better. Well, we're at the end of it, boys. My voice has been spent these days with all this talking. That's all 69 Lords of Warhammer 2. And in Warhammer 3, there's gonna be what, 86 of them or 89. First rework is Chaos. Hopefully the second rework is the Vampires. Hopefully. 90 Lords. Okay, 90 Lords. Most likely playing the Empire first, but you never know. If they did a good job with Gorst, I might play Gorst first. Sigvald has been requested as the second campaign. Unless somebody wants to outbid that person. And we got Greenskins as the third campaign. This is Star Wars style campaign. Most likely Grimgor, but I might pick Wurzak. I'm most likely to pick Grimgor for that. 10% more campaign mood range. Who knows what they're gonna do about this? Well, this is it for the Jib Jabbers, boys. We had one last look to refresh ourselves for the Warhammer 3. We're gonna check all this and more again in Warhammer 3 Immortal Empires beta before decide who to play first. And considering how long this took, we might be actually do this for days. So while other people will be playing campaigns, we'll be checking shit under the microscope. For the rest of the night, I need to still do one more achievement in Warhammer 2. And that's Saturn Iron Vortex. I'll just go fast through that one, and the next campaign is most likely Legion of Chaos in Warhammer 3. We still have 8 days and about 15 hours until Immortal Empires. We're not doing a regular campaign, we're just rushing for the achievement, because we've all done all this shit before. Because I want to do it in a few hours and not in 3 days. So I'll do a short break, and when I get back, we'll just get this achievement, and probably gonna be it for the day, and then we'll start a new campaign tomorrow. See you in a bit.